Welcome, everyone, to TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. I'm your host, TJ, and with me, as always, is the Grumpy Old Man. They say there's no shame in his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
Grumpy, how are you doing this fine Sunday evening?
Just wonderful, old person in the dark.
I know. As soon as I started up, I was like, what the hell? My camera went out. So I
Well,
had
maybe they were hiding your identity. Like they do, they hide the identity of this person when they're speaking out against someone. But maybe that's what they were doing today.
Yes, because the show was always so hard hitting. I had to protect my identity, Grumpy. That's what it really is.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But for those of you who are new to the show, welcome. This is a twice a week all sports podcast that takes place every every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're new to the channel, we invite you to stick around a while. We invite you to like on Facebook, to follow on Twitter, and to and to subscribe on YouTube. That's right. I had to remember what they all were. And also, if you enjoy the content, the best way to let us know is by leaving a thumbs up. Apparently, it helps the algorithm and gets mine and the Grumpy Old Man's word out to the masses.
Very true.
Grumpy, I know we've had a lot of action, we've seen around the NFL this week. We're going to talk a little bit about, the NFL Divisional Round. Lot to talk about there. Some tempers flaring up as well, Grumpy Old Man. We're also going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the United States men's national soccer team again. Popping up in the news. I'll be interested, but we're going to provide some updates. We talked about Greg Berhalter, and we talked about Reyna, and we talked about Gio and everything that's been going on with that situation. We're going to give a few updates there. There's a lot to talk about and cover in today's world of sports, Grump.
Let's get started.
Well, let's talk a little NFL, right? That's the king. That's the Mac Daddy here, especially in the divisional round. Let's first go ahead and discuss the Chiefs against the Jags. Grump. The game was a little closer than I'm sure most had expected, but Mahomes had a high ankle sprain, wound up getting a high ankle sprain during the game. And I think it made it, I tell you, a really winnable game for the Jags, where I'm not sure many people would have thought that going in.
You can't turn the ball over inside the 5 in the red zone. You can't you got real conservative play calling wise, defensively. All they had going. Remember, Mahomes couldn't move, and you didn't have the Jacksonville head coach, Doug Peterson, wasn't sending any blitz package out. He could barely stand up out there, and they didn't double cover Travis Kelce. That was the game right there.
Yeah, Travis Kelce had the most receptions out of a tight end ever in NFL postseason game, I believe.
No, he had 14. So okay. I don't know. I don't know where that ranks. I think the record was 15. Maybe that's regular season too. I don't know. But here's the thing. You got to double him, right? Make Mahomes have to plant that foot and drive the ball down the field. He couldn't do it. And to me, you know what? I'm going to put 7 guys in a block. You're not down low. You're not going to be able to run the ball. And I'm going to double cover Travis Kelce. And they didn't do that. They had a shot to win that game. Biggest takeaway. Trevor Lawrence is the man for Jacksonville.
Oh, yeah.
Good things are coming from him, without a doubt.
I tell you, he wound up being 1 short. It was 15. You're right. He wound up getting 14, but still, he missed out on, I believe, or maybe he had the most for a tight end ever. But
okay.
And he broke his record for a tight end, which was 13. But James White had 14 and 15 in a single game, and Darren Sproles once had 15 catches in a single game. But Travis Kelce broke his own record for a tight end, most receptions ever recorded in a postseason game by a tight end. 14 receptions. You would figure at some point they would think, maybe, just maybe, we should go ahead and make sure we've got double coverage, or we're locking down Travis Kelce. We're jamming him at the line of scrimmage. We've got a guy playing man. We've got a zone right in that area too to give him additional help and pressure, because you've got to put pressure in Mahomes' faces. You're right. His ankle's banged up, was unable to move, pretty much immobile at that point, and just let him sit back there with a clean pocket.
It's just the game was there for Jacksonville to take, and they didn't do it. Bottom line, they didn't execute down the stretch. The biggest one was the guy fumbling inside the 5. You can't do that. They had the ball out like a loaf of bread. It's like, come on, buddy. Know where you are. He had a big kickoff return to start that series. He
Yep.
gets tripped up by the kicker. He kicks the kicker in the helmet, and that's what knocks him down. It's just like, come on, fellas. They had a shot. Jacksonville is on the uptick. That's the biggest takeaway from that game. Jacksonville's on the uptick.
I'll tell you this here too. Man, oh man, Grumpy. That was a game. If he does not fumble, I think his name is, and I cannot remember. Agnew. If Agnew doesn't fumble there, I think Jacksonville wins that game.
Me too.
They're knocking on the doorstep for a touchdown. Then you're kicking off the ball to the Chiefs. All you got to do is come up with a stop, or maybe you hold them to a field goal and you need a touchdown. I mean, that Jags offense was moving at that point. That drive, they were just moving. They were dialing it up. Ingram, you're right. You talked about last week, how much of a big payday has Ingram earned himself? And the answer is quite a substantial one, Grumpy.
Oh, yeah. He's going to make some bag this offseason without a doubt.
He's going to secure the bag, right, Grumpy?
Mm-hmm.
But for those unaffiliated, this is the fumble that we're talking about here. And down a distance, right? You're first and goal from the 9-yard line. You've got 5 minutes and 37 seconds remaining in the game. Oh, let me go ahead and remove this banner so we can see the whole. You've got 5 minutes and 37 seconds remaining in the game. If you score a touchdown, you're down by 3 points and you're kicking the ball back off and you're in good position. As long as you come up with a stop or you hold them to a field goal, you've got the ability to win in regulation.
Going quick from the 9. Gets it out. Agnew at the 5. Oh, the football.
Gets worse and worse every time I see it. Can't do that. Cannot do
he
that.
Almost fumbles. He fumbles the ball, and this doesn't show us the replay. He fumbles the ball before really he's even touched. I'm like, what the hell? As he's bringing it into his body, he like hits it off his body and it fumbles out. I'm like, how the hell do you drop that ball, buddy?
Can't do it. Can't do it.
But here's the thing. What did we see when that happened? When that happened, when he fumbled the ball and they were going to go to a TV timeout, all of the players, every single member of that Jacksonville team was hitting him on the helmet saying, dude, you get it back. Don't worry about it. Every single person rallying behind the troops. That's not what we saw today out of the Bills game, Grumpy.
No, it was not.
Before we get to that, though, but I figure, right, you talk about how teams respond to adversity and how teams respond to a little bit of a bumpy, tumultuous time period. You talk about that is what makes a team a champion. When things do not go perfect, very rarely does it go perfect from week 1 of the postseason or just week 1 of the NFL season all the way to the end and through the Super Bowl. Things do not go perfect. You have to overcome adversity. And some teams do a better job of that than others. But Apex Legend says, TJ is later than Lou Lamoriello is for retirement.
Ouch.
I like it. I like it, Apex. And I was late today, per the usual. Rob says, awesome. What's up, Rob? Drew L says, I just wanted to send prayers to Tony Pollard. That the ankle injury looked brutal.
Yeah, they had, of course, we just saw him get rolled up on. And, he went into the tent. They had to wheel him off. They had his shoe off. And I think they had something around it. So, yeah.
The air cast on his ankle.
Yeah, he's not coming back. Regardless.
Return questionable for Tony Pollard.
He's out. I think
he was having a pretty good. He was having. I mean, respectively, he was having a pretty good game that game too.
Dallas is another loser team. I mean,
Dallas's biggest issue is the quarterback, but we'll talk about that more. But I want to get
kicker.
We'll talk. Trust me, we'll talk about that. But I want to talk more about what happened yesterday, first in games. I want to get caught up with comments to make sure we don't get too far behind. Goon says TJ said Josh Allen isn't as great as everybody says he is. After today's poop performance, is TJ a wise man? Here's one thing, Goon, and everybody listens. I am not wrong on quarterback play. Never, ever, ever. It doesn't take much to do. Josh Allen doesn't have the clutch gene. Josh Allen does not have the ability to will a team to victory. Very few quarterbacks do. Josh Allen doesn't have the ability to do that.
You know who was the greatest at being clutch?
Oh, don't do it.
Everyone knows.
Who is it, Grump? Who is it?
People's champion, Tom Brady.
Who are you about to say? You about to say Phil Simms or Dan Marino? Or are you going to go ahead and say a guy like Peyton Manning? Who are you going to say, Grumpy?
Give me a T. Give me a B. Give me a 12. Tom Brady.
Okay.
I mean, right? That's his reputation, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Certain guys, you're right, though. Certain guys have the clutch gene, and we'll talk about the Buffalo game certainly later. But yeah, Josh Allen today, they don't have a running game. That's their biggest issue. And I went right back to what we talked about at the trade deadline. I cannot believe they did not go after Christian McCaffrey with what San Francisco gave up to get him. That's a no-brainer for them. They need a running back.
Poor player personnel management. And when you get a snowy game like that, my friends,
You have to be able to run the
a fun
ball.
day for the Hogs. It's a fun day for the big boys. The O-line and D-linemen have a good and the offensive linemen love it. Run. But when you have a whole bunch of backs who are designed to be playing in sunny and 75 weather, to catch little dump-off passes out of the backfield, make a few defenders miss, that type of stuff doesn't carry over to cold weather, snowy games, which is the weird thing. Buffalo is in a cold weather and a snowy place, which is always the thing that baffles me about it. But we'll talk about that here in a second. Rob says, with Mahomes with a bad wheel, is it Cincy's ring to lose?
Do we want to jump there already, or do we want to hold on?
Let's okay. You know what? I figured let me do this first. We're going to talk about the Jags game all the way through. Jags, Cincy. Jags, the Chiefs. Now, with that game, Grumpy, what takeaways do you have about the Kansas City Chiefs? They beat the Jags. It was a close one, but they won nonetheless. What is your thought process on the Chiefs, Grump?
For me, okay, can I just touch on one? There were just a couple of things that lost the game for Jacksonville.
Sure.
Mahomes gets knocked out with the ankle. They get a punt. They should have gotten a field goal, but they just screwed it up, right? They drew a penalty. They wound up having to punt the ball. They took a sack. They had to want a punting ball. They get the ball at the 1. Chad Henne comes in and drives them 99 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah.
You cannot let that happen.
Correct.
You cannot let that happen. That put them up, whatever the score was at the time. But you cannot let that happen. It reminds me of what he came in and did against Cleveland in the playoffs, 3-4 years ago, where he got them the big first down when Mahomes couldn't come back.
He was diving in the middle of a pile, and I think his leg or his ankle got rolled up on. Now, this was his 2020, maybe that. I can't remember. This is quite a few years ago.
Yeah. That's the last time he played a meaningful snap.
Yeah.
You let them run the ball on you. You let him complete passes, and it's like a third down. I don't know if it was a third or fourth down play, but it's the same. Whenever the Chiefs need a first down, it's that little rollout to the right with the wide receiver who just kind of goes maybe 3 yards down, cuts across, and they hit him running. It's the same play they've been running for years and years. And Kadarius Toney made a nice play. I mean, they had a nice game, so congrats. But I don't think Kansas City is as good as everyone thinks that they are.
Kansas City's not. And with Mahomes on a banged up leg, will Cincinnati heed words of wisdom, put pressure on Mahomes, hit him in the face early and often, throw him off the game. He's not mobile, put pressure on him, rack up the hits, get him off his game. Will they do that? Will they be effectively able to knock him off the game? Because, right, if you're going to give him all the time back here in the world to go ahead and hit wide receivers in stride, give him a perfect clean pocket, I think that's a game that it's Kansas City's to lose at that point. Because, right, a high ankle sprain, you're not going to bounce back in a week. It takes you're still going to be, it's going to be tender.
They'll shoot him up.
It's still going to be tender.
Now, supposedly, the Chiefs released a statement. Oh, this is way better than we expected him to be.
That's a lie.
Today. Yeah, absolutely. That's a lie. Absolutely.
That's correct.
I mean, he could barely even walk yesterday. And they didn't just wrap him. He got a shot during the game. He did. When you're going back into the tunnel and you're gone for 5-10 minutes, they're absolutely, numb it up. Let's get out there.
Here's the thing. I'm not too worried about, what they do. They all do that
type
of stuff.
He will play.
Yeah, I'm watching that again. He definitely broke that ankle, Tony Pollard. Oof. But it's I think that Mahomes, he's not going to be 100%. He's not going to be running and scrambling around. I think the rolling out of the pocket, you're going to see that is going to be a lot. I think that's going to be limited. I'm not saying he's not going to roll out of the pocket at all. I'm just saying he's going to be very limited regarding his movement. That's for certain.
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk about that game later, I guess, right?
Well, we're talking about the Jags and the Chiefs, right? Or the Jags and the Chiefs right now,
right?
Aren't we?
But to me, those are the two key things. You didn't stop Chad Henne. You let him drive 99 yards for a touchdown. That settles down Kansas City, right? If you go 3 and out there and Jacksonville comes and scores, and now you're trailing. It's like, oh, the wheels start to come off a little bit. And then the fumble.
Chad Henne on that drive, how many yards did he throw for? Like 70-something yards on that drive, whatever it was. He threw for on that drive, he was 5 for 7, only 23 yards and a touchdown. But again, 5 for 7, completed the passes when needed. And, Jacksonville's defense, you're right, had to come up bigger in that moment. They didn't. But here's the thing. It shows that the Chiefs are definitely not impervious. The Chiefs are going to have a lot to handle when Cincy comes to town or when Cincy plays. But I do want to go ahead and talk a little bit about, that evening game, Grumpy, or I wouldn't even call it a game, that evening ass whooping between the Eagles and the Giants. I did say maybe the Giants surprise, maybe the Giants find a way to beat Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, what are we expecting to see from him? The Giants just shit the bed across the board, every facet of the game. What
did I tell you was going to happen in that game? You remember?
What, Grump?
I said the Eagles are going to kill the Giants. The Giants went as far as they could go. Let's just put it that way. They went as far as they could go. They don't have the talent. They don't have the talent to hang with teams like Philadelphia. And I'll tell you what, the Eagles, they're back. They're back.
I'm not concerned about the Eagles.
Yes. Eagles going to the Super Bowl. I'll tell you right now.
Holy shit. That's funny. I'm going to tell you one thing. I think what you saw in yesterday's game, yesterday evening, was exactly what you could expect. You saw that Daniel Jones, the pumpkin, started to rot and just went ahead and rotted from the inside. Daniel Jones is not the answer. Danny Dimes is not the answer, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how many more times I've got to say that. He is a game-managing quarterback, and he's a guy when, he had the best game of his NFL career last week. That's it. He's peaked. That's it. That's it, Daniel Dimes. Fade off into the sunset. Fade off into, eternal backup for the rest of your career. That's it. It's done. It's over, Grump.
So are you rescinding that $35 million a year contract to him to get him back for the Giants?
Man, I'm telling you, the Giants are in a precarious position because, right, you're not in a spot good enough to select a quarterback. What are you going to do? You're going to say, hey, the guy who took us under new coach, right? Hey, maybe we think that we can work with him. He's having a new coach, a new offensive coordinator. Hey, maybe we finally got things going right for Daniel Jones. Maybe he's headed in the right direction. He's not. Even if he's headed in the right direction, there's a peak that he can reach. And he's not a guy who has a high peak.
Okay. What are the Giants' options? Right? There's going to be a lot of quarterback movement again this year.
Hey, Joe Namath said that he would allow Aaron Rodgers to wear number 12 if he came to the Jets, right? Apparently, Aaron Rodgers wants to be moved, as I mentioned last week, Grump, and you tried to shut it down. But, right, Lamar Jackson, hey, Harbaugh's 200% behind Lamar Jackson, which we talked briefly about last week too, or last Thursday. There's some quarterbacks at play that can be moved.
There's Geno Smith. Did the Jets take a look at him again?
No, please no. Geno. Don't go back. Geno, stay in Seattle. I thought Geno was staying in Seattle.
Well, he hasn't signed a contract yet. He's unrestricted free agent.
Okay.
Derek Carr is available for trade.
That's true.
There's going to be a lot of movement. I'll tell you what, it's so crazy that there was so much movement in the quarterback market last year. You never see it. Last year was
historically we haven't seen it. And like these 2 years, we're going to see more quarterback movement than we see in over a decade.
And I'm going to tell you, and I've been following football a lot longer than you have. I never saw anything like last year. Never. And this year it's going to be just as crazy. It's going to be just as crazy. Brady's going to go somewhere. I mean, what
are you talking about, Grumpy? He's going back to Tampa. Run it back, Grumpy. Run it back for Tampa. Run it back. That always works, Grumpy, when you chant to run it back.
There's no way he's going back to Tampa.
It worked for the Rams when they chanted run it back this last year. Run it back.
Anyone who says that you're just guaranteeing failure. So stupid.
I'm sorry. Continue.
But there's a lot. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo's available.
Jimmy Garoppolo is not the answer anywhere.
Well, I'm just saying that I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo necessarily fits what Brian Daboll wants to do. He wants a quarterback who can run. I think, like I told you before, Lamar Jackson, I think would be a great fit for that offense.
Do you know who I'm thinking more and more would be an even better fit? Aaron Rodgers. If Rodgers is legitimately thinking about moving, I think that would be a match made in heaven. I'm telling you, they're not going to run and utilize his legs as much as they want. He is a guy to where if you could surround him with, they've got a good defense. What do you keep saying no for?
No. Aaron Rodgers is not going to the Giants. No.
Okay.
Not happening.
Here's
They
one.
want
Lamar
Brian
Jackson is not the answer. Lamar Jackson is a bad choice for the Giants. You would not catch me touching Lamar Jackson with a 10-foot pole for the Giants.
He fits what they do. That's all I'm saying on the Brian Daboll's offense. He fits what they do. That's all I'm saying.
Grumpy. Okay, look at me for a second, Grump.
Dude, just roll. Just go. Stop talking.
Look at me for a second, Grumpy. Lamar Jackson, do you think with his as devoid of a wide receiver crew we have, just like the Ravens had, and again, I'm speaking about us as the Giants, I'm a Giants fan, but do you think as devoid of a wide receiver core as the Giants have, that he's going to say, yes, sign me up for another team that is devoid of offensive talent?
Okay. You think Aaron Rodgers is going to go there?
I think
absolutely not. Aaron Rodgers is only about himself and his stats. You think he's going to go there? He's absolutely not going there. What I'm saying is Lamar Jackson is a fit for what Brian Daboll's offense is. That's all I said. He's the best fit.
He's not a good fit anywhere. I don't know. He is unique. He is himself. Nobody else plays quarterback in the NFL like he does. He's unique. He's the only player to play that style.
Okay, whatever. I mean,
whatever. Who else plays Lamar Jackson's style of football?
Josh Allen?
No. Josh Allen does not play the Lamar Jackson style of football. Josh Allen throws the ball 30, 40 times a game. Okay. Lamar Jackson throws 20 times a game. Run, pop pass, run, pop pass. No.
He fits what Brian Daboll does. They did it with Daniel Jones this year. They like to have it where he runs the ball and then incorporates the pass. That's the offense that Brian Daboll used with Josh Allen up in Buffalo. I mean, don't tell me no. I'm telling you what I've seen from Brian Daboll and Josh Allen. And then when he went to college at Alabama, they did the same thing with Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa. That's what they did. Then he comes back into the NFL. He goes to Buffalo. I mean, come on.
Brian Daboll. Josh Allen with Brian Daboll last year threw the ball 646 times.
How many times did he run the ball? How many times did he run the ball?
572 times.
How many times did he run the ball?
I'll pull it up. Give me a second.
And how many yards did he have? Josh Allen runs the ball a lot. We talk about it here. He shouldn't be running so much.
121, 102. Everything went through the QB. But Lamar Jackson's not a guy who throws 600 times in a season. That's not Lamar Jackson, buddy. The reason why they had to adapt what they did for Daniel Jones is because he is such an inept quarterback. They had to rely more upon his feet. That's not what he wants. He wants a guy like the Josh Allen who can not only throw, but is also mobile. That's what he wants. And if you have a guy who's a fantastic quarterback, a fantastic passer, you could say, guess what? Just like I did this last year when I relied more upon my quarterback's feet, I can rely more upon my quarterback's arm. Think about Brian Daboll. He has a better running back here in the Giants than he's ever had anywhere where he's been in NFL involved with the NFL team. Right? Barkley's a better running back than Buffalo has ever had under Daboll.
Okay.
As the offensive coordinator.
Daniel Jones ran the ball.
Require their quarterback to do as much running with a much better running back. That's my point.
You're the dumbest smart guy I know, because all I know is Brian Daboll likes a quarterback who's able to run, where they can run those naked bootlegs, those little waggle, all those things that he does. That he did with Daniel Jones, he did with Josh Allen. Lamar Jackson is a fit for that. Regardless of what you think, he's a fit for that. Aaron Rodgers is not. Tom Brady is not. Jimmy Garoppolo is not. He needs a mobile quarterback.
Lamar Jackson's never thrown the ball for more than 401 times.
I don't care how many times he's thrown the ball.
Okay, gotcha.
He has
so what we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, Lamar.
It's a different offense. It's a different offense.
That's what I just said. Nobody plays the way he plays. He's not like anybody else's offense.
It's the skill set. He can run. He's an elite runner, and he can throw the ball down the field. That's what they had Daniel Jones do this year. That's what he had Josh Allen do.
I'm sorry. You're just not going to get me to buy in on Lamar Jackson.
I'm just saying that's the type of quarterback that Brian Daboll excels with. That's all I said.
I think Rodgers is a good fit for the Giants.
Rodgers is absolutely a miserable fit. An absolute.
I know you don't like Aaron. I know you don't like Aaron Rodgers.
He's a loser. He's a loser. And you kidding me? Him in New York? He's a bitch in Green Bay. Imagine what he's going to be like in New York. Stop.
So are you saying this is an endorsement not for the Jets to look at him either?
He's not going anywhere. I mean, haven't we already had that discussion?
He's going somewhere. Stop. He's going somewhere. Anyway, let's get back to that game. Giants, Eagles. Now you think the Eagles are making it to the Super Bowl. Tell me why.
I think they're the most balanced team. They can throw the ball. They can run the ball. They play solid defense. I mean, they're the most balanced team in the NFC. That's why they're first in the league.
So you
saw Jalen Hurts is fully healthy now.
What did Jalen Hurts do yesterday? All of nothing. 150 yards, 150-something yards passing. It wasn't a fantastic performance by him. They ran the ball up and down the Giants' throat all night.
There you go. So why would you be throwing the ball again? Why would you be throwing the ball if you could run at will?
You're not going to be able to run against the 49ers, buddy. That's my point. And you can't pass against them unless you're freaking spot on.
Well, guess what? Then he'll be passing the ball.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. How has that worked out for teams that try to pass the ball against the Niners? How's that been working out for him?
Tony Pollard was running the ball on them today before he got hurt.
6 rushes for 22 yards. Hard to say that he was running like wild maniac on him.
They'll just throw little screen passes to the outside. Here's the thing. The Eagles' offense is better than Dallas's. They have a quarterback.
Really?
Yeah. Dak Prescott is like, no.
Well, thank you for coming around to my way of thinking on that, too. It only
I never thought he was great.
I said he was one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL this season.
He's not one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL, but he's not an upper echelon guy. And what you're finding in big moments, he shrinks from the occasion.
Okay. The last 9 games, he's had like 13 picks. He's not a great quarterback. He's not. With all the weapons he's got, he's not a good quarterback. If they had a better quarterback there in Dallas, they'd be singing a different tune. They'd be a much better team. His early years relied solely upon Elliott to open up everything. Now that Ezekiel Elliott is cashed, he's not the same running back he was before. And Pollard, right? He's a guy who never compared to Elliott in his peak. Right now, it's saying, oh, okay, gotcha. We don't have to keep as many guys in a box to stop a fantastic run game. We could do so with a front 7 with ease. We don't have to keep as many guys in the box. It means I could drop more guys back into coverage. And when that happens, you're not able to throw the balls efficiently.
Okay, I'm just saying in big games, he's disappeared. That's all.
I think he's disappeared everywhere. But, hey, neither here nor there. I don't think Jalen Hurts is as good as a quarterback as you're letting him off to believe. Again, I have not been able to watch at all the 49ers game today. I'm not sure how Brock Purdy has looked, Grumpy. How has he looked?
Terrible. He's a rookie. It's 9-9 for a reason. The score is 9-9.
Dallas's defense is good, though.
Dallas's defense is okay. They're not great.
Micah Parsons, Diggs. I mean, they've got a pretty stout defense.
Micah Parsons is the real deal. But here's the thing, right? San Francisco's able to run the ball on everybody, right? Not today.
9 rushes, 33 yards for Christian McCaffrey. Deebo Samuel, 4 rushes, 11 yards. Elijah Mitchell, 3 rushes, 10 yards. Well, here's the thing. This Cowboys defense, I think, is better than that Eagles defense.
Okay. But I think we can agree Philadelphia's offense is vastly superior to the Cowboys' offense.
Sure.
I mean, Dak Prescott's thrown 2 interceptions today. One in the red zone. I don't know who the hell he was throwing.
We'll pull up those interceptions here in a second. But let's wrap up, though. Let's wrap up Giants and Eagles before we leave, because then we're going to talk about what's happening there. You think, though, Eagles making the Super Bowl, you think they're going to beat either the 49ers or the Cowboys if they play them?
Yeah, I think the 49ers are a quarterback away from winning the Super Bowl.
I've believed that for a while, too. I thought that last year.
Yeah. Jimmy Garoppolo shit the bed like he always does. And Brock Purdy, here's the thing, maybe Brock Purdy can turn into something eventually, but, you know, he's kind of a little bit of a paper tiger at 6-0. Didn't beat anybody good. And, I mean, just today, Dallas, like I said, it's giving that game away. But to go back to the Giants thing, a really good first season for Brian Daboll, Joe Shane, and the Giants front office. I mean, I think it's been a really, really good year. They need to add some. They need to add some pop in the outside wide receiver position. Just have to. They need to re-sign Barkley. It's got to be a manageable deal, though. You don't want to break the bank for him. And I still think.
Do you think really quickly? Do you think he's going to get a manageable deal, or after he's been healthy all year in a contract season, do you think they're going to have to overpay to keep him? He's been a guy who's been riddled with injury history, and now, right, we're in a spot to where, hey, it's contract year for him, and he goes ahead and balls out.
What are you going to do? Let him walk?
No, I'm just saying. Let's say he wants a long. Remember when Christian McCaffrey? I'd say he was banged up too at the time period, but everybody knew when the Panthers signed that huge contract to McCaffrey, they said, "What the hell are they doing?" I'm just wondering if it's going to be the same thing where that contract, when it gets signed by Barkley, we're all wondering why the hell would you commit to so many years and so much money for Barkley?
That's the conundrum you're in, though, right?
Yep. So again, does it shock you at all that, hey, he's having the best year? He had more rushing yards had one extra game in the regular season, I'm aware, had more rushing yards than he's ever had in a season before. He had, again, the receiving yards weren't as much there, but he had more rushing yards. And I think that, right, in this team, he bounced back and he was healthy. After 2 years of injury upon injury, this year, he's able to string across a full healthy season. I don't know. Kind of makes you worry a bit.
That's the key for any player, though, right?
Kind of makes me worry a bit that a running back in a contract year goes ahead and has a completely healthy year when he's had an injury riddled past. That worries me a bit.
Well, that's the decision you have to make.
Yep. Yeah, it is. It's true. But, the Giants, I think it's a big step forward in the right direction for the Giants. I do not think Daniel Jones is the answer. They're going to have to find the answer, whether that's through the draft, through free agency. They're going to have to find the right answer.
What's the key, though, right? What's the big tell on this, right? He's the only playmaker the Giants have. They don't have another playmaker on the offense. They just don't. Can you name me another playmaker on their offense?
Not at the level of Barkley, no.
Name someone even close. Certainly not any of the wide receivers.
Here's the thing. It's not Galladay, right? It's not Richie James. It's not Darius Slayton. It's none of those guys. They're not the same level. They do need to improve. Simply, they do need to improve.
Can you let your only playmaker go? I mean, that's what I think it comes down to.
No, they're not going to let him go. I'm just saying, right? Is this going to be a 3 or 4 year deal? Is this going to be a 6 or 7 year type of deal? I don't know. That's what I worry about. How long is the deal? How much money?
It's how you structure it. It's all about structure.
Sure. I mean, Sterling Shepard never stays healthy. I mean, I don't know. They don't have many weapons. They need to add.
Don't have any weapons. I'll say they don't have any weapons.
That offensive line's looking quite pretty, Bill Grumpy.
They have serviceable guys in the skill positions, with the exception of Barkley. Everybody else is they're just a guy, just Jags.
Just Jags, but a step in the right direction. The Eagles are a team to watch out for. Let's go ahead and let's look at some comments here, but we're going to talk about today's games, which have been interesting. Master Lego Yoda says, Agnew. Oh, but what a turnaround year this has been for Duval. And I'm looking forward to Calvin Ridley next year. There's definitely reasons to be optimistic if you're a Jags fan.
Yeah. I mean, was it Zay Jones or Marvin Jones?
Zay Jones and Marvin Jones Jr. They have both of them.
Okay. I don't know which Jones it was, but one of them wound up on his interception in the fourth quarter. The ball's in the air. He's looking at it, and he doesn't stop. He just keeps running, and it's like, dude, he had pressure right in his face. He throws it up. It's like, you got to come back and make a play on that ball. You can't let it get intercepted. I mean, disappointing. I don't know which number 7, I think it was, whichever Jones that is.
Zay Jones.
Okay. Just yikes. But I mean, Calvin Ridley.
That's a big plus.
Does he develop chemistry with Trevor Lawrence?
I'm not worried about that. That's a big plus to the team. All he can do is be an addition to the team, right? Because you've got Christian Kirk, you got Zay Jones, you have Travis Etienne. That's just a big plus is all that is.
I tell you what, I don't think Travis Etienne is that good a running back. I think he's a good pass catcher out the backfield. I think he's really good. But he's not a guy they don't run him between the tackles. He's an outside the tackle runner. He's like DeAndre Swift. They're both very similar.
DeAndre Swift is a midget compared to Travis Etienne. Come on, dude.
They're the same running back to me. They run the same way. Both teams run those guys the same way. They don't run Etienne up the middle. They just don't.
Yeah, you're just not going to get me to agree on that. 10 rushes, 62 yards yesterday against the Chiefs. Should have been utilized more. But again, hey, there's only so many balls to go around, Grump. Yeah. You saw after they got rid of James Robinson, they started to rely upon him more, and I think it benefited them.
When they run outside, not between the tackles. They don't use them between the tackles. They just don't do it.
Joseph C. Grumpy's got a comment.
Bills still have no running back after how many years of Josh Allen, the quarterback? The Bengals are built to play in Buffalo better than the Bills are.
Yeah, I agree. And here's the thing, too. Let's talk a little bit about that game, Grumpy. That was the early game. Bills finding a way just to – well, I won't say they found a way to lose because I think Cincinnati controlled the game pretty much from start to finish. The Bills, though, for the team that was constructed, should have performed better, and you would have expected more success out of the Bills going into that matchup.
They had a lot of injuries in the last couple of weeks.
Go to the Bengals. 3 starting offensive linemen out. 3 starting offensive linemen out. That matters.
You going to let me finish or you just want to chirp it? All right. The Bills have had a lot of injuries the last 3 weeks to the defense. They still don't have a running back. Like we mentioned earlier, I was stunned that they didn't make a move for Christian McCaffrey. I thought that was so short-sighted. I thought Josh Allen played within himself today. They just couldn't move the ball. I thought that Cincinnati controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. They were able to put pressure on Josh Allen and keep him in the pocket, rushing 4 guys with number 21 just blitzing occasionally. And he's really, really good at it. So for me, Cincinnati has had enough of the NFL dumping on them. They thought today's game should have been on a neutral field.
Correct.
And they feel slighted by the NFL, without a doubt. They feel slighted by the NFL.
That mentality is a good mentality to have.
And they are on a mission. They're on a mission. They're going to win the Super Bowl. I'm going to tell you right now.
Whoa!
They're going to they've already beaten Kansas City this year. Matter of fact, Burrow has never lost to Kansas City. They're a team that just grinds it out. Look at the drives they had today. Right from the first drive, just methodical, down the field, bing, bang, boom, bomb. It's like when that kid wants to throw, he's so accurate. Joe Burrow, I'm telling you, he's the closest thing to Brady right now. In a big game, the young quarterbacks, he's the guy I want. He does not get flustered.
The Bills, they're missing the running back. They're missing the ability to earn tough yards. When you have to rely upon your quarterback to earn tough yards, and you also rely upon your quarterback to throw the football, your quarterback can't earn yards all season long. Your legs and your body starts to go out from underneath you. As a running back, you can have 1 or 2 guys that can earn you those tough yards. But instead, all of the running backs do the same thing, Grumpy. They're all running backs to where they like to catch the ball out of the backfield. They like to run outside. They can't earn tough yards. It's not conducive to being successful in cold weather, and it's not conducive to being successful later on in the season. That's just what it is. And this is a game, right? When it snows like that, you're going to have to run the ball an awful lot. You have got to be able to win the it's just like when it rains, where it's a downpour of rain. That's when it goes back to old school football. You got to be able to control the line of scrimmage. And Cincy did that for both offense and defensive line. I was shocked the offensive line for Cincy with 3 starters out controlled the line of scrimmage as much as they did against Buffalo.
And Cincinnati can do just about everything. They ran the ball well today. They haven't run the ball well all season, have not. But in today's game in the snow, man, that offensive line said, you know what? Run behind me, Mixon and P. Ryan. Or they have P. Ryan just popping out of the backfield. Bam, Burrow just hitting with the short pass. They
Mixon
know
and
what
P. Ryan are both hard runners, too, which
yes.
is important to note. They're both hard runners.
But here's the thing. Why is everybody a scat back, throw the ball outside? Why? Because that's what they produce in college now. That's the whole college game.
Not everybody.
The vast majority. The vast majority. How many? What schools are? Hey, we're gonna pound it. We're gonna pound the rock, run it up the middle all the time.
A lot of teams in the Northeast. And if you look at it, those are the teams that usually produce the best running backs. Look historically, your Wisconsins, your Michigan States, University of Pittsburgh. The teams that are in the Northeast run the ball consistently are going to be hard downfield runners. They're going to be guys that play in the cold, that know how to earn the tough yards, that play in that cold weather. Those are the guys. You look at the top tier running backs. A lot of them come from the Northeast when they play college.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, you think about it, right? Just from Wisconsin alone, Melvin Gordon played at Wisconsin. I know Melvin Gordon's towards the tail end, but he played at Wisconsin. Melvin Gordon was a really dominant running back for a while, wouldn't you say?
He was a good back. He wasn't dominant. He was always hurt. Always hurt. He's a good back.
Okay.
But he catch a pass too.
Yeah. Well, all running backs are required to catch the ball now. It's not like you can be just a runner. Yes. Yes. If you
not Wisconsin. Wisconsin doesn't do that. Nobody. The knock on Jonathan Taylor was he never caught any passes out of in college. That was the knock on him. Well, it's not the offense they run. Ron Dane before that. Melvin Gordon. They will run the ball. They're a ground and pound team. Wisconsin always have since Barry Alvarez was the coach there years ago. They're not a spread team.
They can catch the ball out of the backfield. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm just saying that school doesn't do that in college. That was the knock on Jonathan Taylor. Can he catch the ball out of the backfield? Nobody knew because he's never done it.
You think about Michigan State, right? Michigan State with Le'Veon Bell, another fantastic running back. You look at the most recent product they've had come out of there too, Grumpy, for the Seahawks, blanking on his name.
Kenneth Walker III.
Kenneth Walker III. All of those running backs that can catch well enough, but know how to run in that Northeast style of college football are always extremely successful running backs. Always.
Yeah, he came over from Rutgers.
I'm sorry,
Walker.
Rutgers.
He was 1 year at Michigan State.
Okay, but he was a guy who played Rutgers both in the Big Ten though too. So played his entire college in the Big Ten football.
Yeah. I'm
just saying, right? You're seeing a lot of the really, really talented running backs, the hard ones, the really, really successful ones, all Northeast. I won't say all. I'm sure you get a few.
Midwest.
Yeah.
Alabama. Alabama produces running backs.
Alabama runs the ball hard in between the tackles. Alabama. Georgia too. Sure. But this is what you're talking about when you're talking about the Bengals, Grump, about how they're taking a kind of an us against them mentality. And hey, that could really drive a team.
Yesterday, just that chip on your shoulder, everyone talking about a neutral AFC championship game, not even thinking about you guys. How much did that motivate you coming into this?
You better send those refunds.
You better send those refunds, is what he says. And now head coach here obviously has a response too, kind of a snarky response too. They did not like the fact that everybody was looking over the Bengals.
It is tough because they have to formulate the plans for coin tosses and they got to formulate the plans for neutral site games, and we just keep screwing it up for everybody. And I hate that for people that have to endure all those logistical issues, and then we just keep screwing it up. So I'm sorry.
So obviously, Grumpy, some sarcasm thrown in the mix there for Zach Taylor as well.
You know, the NFL wanted Kansas City Buffalo.
They wanted a rematch of last year's matchup.
My God, did they want Kansas City Buffalo?
Yep.
It's funny. And Cincinnati has been screwed with this whole Damar Hamlin thing, without a doubt. It's like, oh, well, Buffalo, whatever. I mean, Cincinnati, whatever. I don't think they like the Brown family and the NFL. Why did they even dream up the scenario and start selling tickets for something that might happen, weeks down the line? Did they really need to do that? Or wouldn't you kind of wait and hold on and let's see how things play out a little bit? I'm going to tell you why. They want to push to have the championship games at neutral fields. That's what they want to do. NFL wants to have championship games at neutral fields. It's a bigger money market for them. They want to have them in domes. They don't want weather being a factor. I think that would be a really short-sighted, to be honest with you. Really short-sighted.
Tell me a little bit more about that. You think they want to be a neutral site. Why would you think that? I just want to understand.
Because it's more money for them.
How so?
They're going to hold it at a neutral site at a big stadium. Maybe they hold it in Dallas or in Los Angeles or in Atlanta, as opposed to, Arrowhead Stadium or Buffalo or Cincinnati. You got to remember, NFL could care less about the fans. They could care. They don't give two hoots about the fans. But it's about money. They were trumpeting up how we already sold 50,000 tickets, like within like a week of it being announced. Really? Why even announcing that?
Oh man!
I mean, they were pushing that, and they're going to push for that. They're going to push for that. Make it like Super Bowl Junior. Maybe they'll hold 2 games in the same building one day after the other. How about that? How's that going to roll?
I don't know. This is unique. I've never thought of it like this, Grump.
They're greedy.
I'm not sure how it's going to make them more money. I feel like if it's hometown fans, unless they're how are they going to make additional funds?
It's not going to be home. It's not going to be home. It's going to be like a Super Bowl. They're going to sell them to corporations.
And you think they're going to do more where it's just like,
and they'll give 10,000 tickets.
Fanfare when you're going to a neutral site. There's going to be a lot more fanfare. There's going to be a lot more maybe items sold, perhaps.
Yep.
Okay, I've never thought of it like that.
Make them corporate tickets, and we'll give 10,000 tickets to the Chiefs, 10,000 tickets to the Bills. The rest go, to everybody else. Why would we want, the unwashed masses at our big game? We want the corporate people there.
Hey, if we're going to a game, let's just go ahead and pick up a Cincy jersey. Yeah, I guess since we're going, you got to be rooting for somebody. Maybe you might be onto something, Grump.
You heard it here first. I don't know. They will try to implement that. They absolutely will try to implement that.
Okay. And reviewing back through comments there, Master Legato says they did better than the Bills. The Jags did. I think the Bills. What do the Bills need to do going forward?
Since
answer that before we go through Cincinnati,
they need a running back.
You think it's just that simple? Just get a running back, plug and play.
I'd like Sean McDermott as a head coach, but is he Marty Schottenheimer? Because sometimes you just make decisions and it's like, dude, do you know what you're doing? You get a little tight in the big moment. I feel he does that. He did against Kansas City last year. His inaction cost them against Kansas City. Of course, it might not have mattered because, Joe Burrow and the Bengals wound up beating Kansas City after being down at half. They came back and they won that game. Cincinnati deserves to be where they are. People keep overlooking Cincinnati.
I don't think Zach Taylor is a coach. I think he's a little bit of a goof. I think the reason Cincy wins is not because of him. I think the players on that field are fantastic. I think Joe Burrow's big moment quarterback, just like I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be a big moment quarterback. I think Zach Taylor is, if you look at one of the weakest portions of that team and organization, head coach is up there for me.
Why do you think that is? Players win games, coaches lose them.
Not even that. I think that when you look at some of the decisions he's made, game time decisions, they're questionable at best. The guy has, you talk about Brandon Staley, how miserable of a head coach he is, but Zach Taylor has that same exact mentality. Yeah, let's just go for it. Yeah, let's do. And you're just like, my God, just unbelievable. I'm more risk adverse when it comes to certain items. And Zach Taylor comes from that new school of thought where he's like, yeah, I'm going to take the chance that, hey, this 4th and 1, we can go ahead and pick that up. Even though it's the 50-yard line, we'll take it up. We've got a 70% chance of getting a first down when we run an ISO here to the right side of the field. Like that type of shit is just not my type of football. But that's how most new head coaches are.
Yeah, I guess, the whole thing is the team believes in Joe Burrow.
For certain. And they should.
And in the big moment, he gets the job done. He just does.
We talked about team belief and all buying in. Now, you may have seen this if you were watching the game, or depending on how much of the game you watched, if you didn't turn it off early. But there was a little bit of an issue. The score at this time period was 27-10. I'll remove this banner so everybody can see. It's 27-10. The Bills are down. There's 6 minutes and 55 seconds left, and now the Bengals are about to start driving. Now, I just want you to watch what occurred between star wide receiver Stephon Diggs, who has benefited greatly from playing with Josh Allen, benefited greatly in the stat column, also getting paid column. He's benefited greatly from playing with Josh Allen. I'll let you watch what occurred here.
A little frustration here. Diggs wants to win. He's a highly emotional player. They love each other, but right there, he's like, listen, I was open.
You know what Josh Allen should have done?
Sit your ass down, buddy.
He should have stood up and said, shut the fuck up and sit down. That's what he should have done.
Real leaders don't let you can never, right? I don't care who the fucking quarterback is. The quarterback cannot, and I mean not let another teammate show them up like that. The quarterback always has to be the leader. The quarterback always is looked at, right? Like they're looked at like the president. They are the figurehead of the team. They're the figurehead of the offense. If you start having offensive linemen go, hey man, why are you throwing 3 picks over there? What do you do? You can't let that. Doesn't matter what position player it is. You cannot let somebody bitch at the quarterback without the quarterback getting in their face and yelling at them to cause the reaction. You cannot let the quarterback get yelled at to get freaking demeaned like that by another player. It cannot be allowed.
Does anybody do that to Brady?
Does anybody do that to Burrow? Does anybody do that to Trevor Lawrence? No. You as a wide receiver, you have Stephon Diggs.
You're a wide receiver. First of all, you're a wide receiver.
Correct.
You're barely a football player. You're a guy who runs down the sideline. I throw a ball up and you catch it. That's your job. You're not involved. You're not blocking anyone. You're not hitting anyone. Stop. You're a diva wide receiver. Stop. They're all the same. They're all the same. But that was a bad look for Josh Allen. He should have got up and said, shut up and sit down.
Well, it's a bad look for Josh Allen. Also a bad look for Stephon Diggs. You've seen prima donna wide receivers. Diggs, I don't think has been labeled that way. I don't think Diggs has ever been labeled that way. This is something you would see out of Terrell Owens, Chad Ochocinco. You would see out of a guy like that who's got a history for shit talking or causing issues and stuff like that. But this right here, I think, was uncharacteristic from Stephon Diggs. It's a bad look for the organization. It's a bad look for the franchise. When things get a little tough, what happens? Do you unify? Do you start all pulling in the same direction, or do you start ripping from every which way and you're not all rowing the same way? That's what that looked like today.
I think it's safe to say the top 4 quarterbacks going forward, the next 5 years in the league, are all in the AFC.
Yep. Oh, absolutely, Grump. And here's the thing. The unfortunate part about this is not even a reaction from Josh Allen. That is right. You've got to take pride in what you put out there on the field. And I think he does. I'm sure he's a prideful guy. But how do you let somebody yell at you the way this man's yelling at him? And here's the thing. I don't think Josh Allen played particularly poor today.
I don't think he did
played well, though. You know what I mean? This is not if you're putting down the best performances that Josh Allen's had, you wouldn't put this one down in the book.
A lot of things he just does because of his arm talent. A lot of plays he makes. I don't think they're a team that runs fancy routes. They're not the
play designed. The play designs are not like extremely complex.
Pretty simplistic, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I don't think they're very complex with their play calling. No.
Yes, thank you. That's the word I was looking for. And they can't run the ball.
That's correct.
If they could run the ball, I thought their offensive line was shaky today. I think it's been shaky quite often this year, where Josh Allen's had to do a lot by himself. Like I said, what Cincinnati did today, predominantly rushing 4 guys, keeping Josh Allen in the pocket. How many times did he get out and was able to run today? And 4 times?
Well, here's the thing. It's not. That's another thing about the snow, though. When it's snowy out there, you can't do the same shit you would when it's 75 degrees and sunny. You just can't do that. Your ability to cut and your ability to take angles is impeded. It's snowy, and if you start doing that, you start slipping. So it's going to be tougher for Josh Allen to get out of the pocket. That's why it's tough when you rely upon your quarterback to do everything.
True.
Yeah, I think Buffalo seriously needs to consider altering the makeup of the team. As I said that last year, at last year's playoff season, I said they need to change shit up. They're not constructed right. I'm saying it again. Based off the way they lost last year, the way they lost this year, they need serious overhaul. They do.
They need to get more of a running game on the offense, period.
Yes.
I mean, I know they went all in on the, with Von Miller. And, they had some injuries this year to the defense. They did.
Every
Okay.
team has injuries.
Von Miller was a big loss for them down the stretch. He really was. They lost that pass rushing element off the side. But like I said, Cincinnati earned it today. I mean, right from Jump Street. I mean, they just came out and said, you know what, we're going to enforce our will on you. And they did. When did I say I'd pick Cincinnati? Then I kind of backed off a little bit with the offensive line. I'm right back on the Bengal train right now.
Hey, guess what? Our boy Andy Francis, Grumpy. I made a little friendly bet with him. I said, since he beat Buffalo. So, oh yeah, I said it last night with him.
Blowout.
Yeah, I know.
It wasn't even that close. And they took, I always wonder again, man, instant replay. Just stop with the instant. Just stop it.
Give it up, Grumpy's about to say.
If it takes more than 30 seconds and one camera angle, play stands is called. Early on, they took that touchdown away from Jamar Chase, which would have made it 21-7, and they had settled for a field goal. They looked at 15 different angles till they came up with something where they could say, okay, overturn it. They wanted Buffalo, Kansas City. But Cincinnati wasn't playing that game. They weren't buying in. Cincinnati's good. Cincinnati's good. Remember, they lost their first two games of the year to the Pittsburgh and to Dallas. And a lot of their games are close. But you know what? In the big moments, they win those games. They're good. And their quarterback is really good. They were 1-14-1 the year that they got him. They had one win. Then he got the knee injury the next year. The next year, they were 13-6 and made to the Super Bowl. This year, they're going to win it.
Drew L. Grumpy, just so we can get through some comments here.
This game just proves that people need to ease up on Brock Purdy hype. Yes, Dallas' defense is good, but Dallas' front seven are making it difficult for Purdy's receivers to get up their rights. Brock Purdy is okay. I think he'll be a serviceable backup. They need a legitimate quarterback to win a Super Bowl.
Neither Trey Lance or Brock Purdy is the answer.
And they're not beating Philadelphia if they win this game. Now we're going to find out Dak Prescott, who's been, talk about a choke artist. Ugh.
Hold on. You don't think the 49ers have a chance to beat the Eagles? That's where I disagree.
No, absolutely not.
I do agree they do need to cool it down. I've never understood. It's because he was the new thing. He came on towards the middle of the year. They could not stop raving. Oh, look at this fantastic pass by Brock Purdy. He's this, he's that. I'm like,
look who he played. Look who he's played.
That's what I said. You were going to find out more about Brock Purdy in this year's postseason than you found out about him in the regular season. And that's true about a lot of quarterbacks. When you're not playing the shitty teams of the league, you're going to find out more when they play tough competition. Simple.
He's a pretty good game manager. Got them in the lead, but it's big plays by his receivers that they're making. And Kittle made a fantastic catch. I think he's okay. But he's not going to be a consistent winner. Not yet, anyway. They need a veteran. To me, it's the perfect spot for Brady. I'll be honest with you. Brady there for 1 year, win a Super Bowl, pass the baton to Purdy, trade Lance. That's what they should do.
Well, I was about to say, no matter what happens, you have got to either trade Purdy or trade Lance this year. No matter what the 49ers do, one of those quarterbacks has to be gone.
They're not trading Purdy. They're not going to trade Purdy.
You're going to keep both.
I'd keep both for now and pick up a veteran.
They're never going to have more value than they've got now. You've got to trade one. Hey, do you think Trey Lance is the answer? Do you not think he's the answer? Whatever way you go, whoever you think has a better chance to be the guy, they know. They see these guys in practice every freaking day. They saw Trey Lance in practice for 2 years. They know whether they think he's got the answer or not. They know the same thing about Brock Purdy. If you feel like one's a better answer than the other, you must trade the other young, valuable asset. Get what you can immediately for him. Him sitting on the bench or saying, oh, he's going to stay the backup, all it does is ruin relationships, Grump. What do you got? What's on?
Fucking Dak Prescott. I was just going to say, 82 yards to go, 3 minutes to go, and he just about throws a pick six on the first. He's just tunneling up on one guy, and he just stares him down. That's got to be picked off and run back for a touchdown.
Goon says here, do the Islanders owe all their fans an apology?
No.
I think Lou Lamoriello does. I think Lamoriello owes the fan base an apology. I firmly believe that. After all the shit he tried to propagate, I think he should take ownership and say, I apologize to the fans. This was original the plan. We thought it could happen, but it could not be. We couldn't execute.
That's never happening.
He should.
That's never happening.
He should, though. That's
Okay.
all I'm saying.
How many times do you hear general managers apologizing for the woes of their teams?
Well, he's never going to do that. I'm saying, should they? Yes. Lou Lamoriello should. Will he? No. I'm just saying he should.
Is Jerry Jones regretting the contract that he signed, not only for Zeke, but for Dak Prescott? I got to say,
absolutely. As soon as he signed that contract, I said, Tony Pollard's going to be the starting guy next year.
Dak Prescott sucks. I'm sorry.
Yes. I told you he's one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL this year. He is bottom third in the NFL. Convince me otherwise. He has been miserable this season with all the weapons he had. It's not like this guy doesn't have weapons. He's got Michael Gallup. He's got CeeDee Lamb. He's got Dalton Schultz. He has Elliott. He's got Tony Pollard. He's got one of the best offensive lines in the game. He fucking sucks. He's not the answer in Dallas, guys. And Jerry Jones needs to take his grubby hands off the team. Step back, Jerry. You can't do it. Simple.
Okay.
Drew L.
I want to give you a situation.
Okay.
It's 4th down and 10 from your own 18 because 3 and out. 2 minutes, 10 seconds to go. Do you punt the ball with 3 timeouts? Do you punt the ball back to 49ers?
I would.
No. You haven't proven you can stop them.
Okay,
You're going to have
you're not painting the whole picture then, Grump. Okay, so you're not painting the whole picture. You said 3 timeouts left, 2 minutes left to go. The defense is a strong point of this team. You just said earlier on this game, the 49ers can't run the football. Well, with 2 minutes left or however much time's left, the 49ers aren't going to be throwing the football. They're going to be running it. Stack your guys in the box, come up with a stop, and rely upon Dak Prescott. Rely upon the guy you give a huge contract to.
He just almost threw a pick six. Then he throws one guy wide open downfield. It's like a duck. And then he couldn't get out of the pocket. He starts running it. I mean, throw the ball. He gets sacked. Before he got back to the line of scrimmage. 3 and out. Just yikes. There's a reason why they don't win. They don't have the proper people in the key positions, period.
Okay, Grumpy. Let's get back to some comments then. Yeah. There you go, Grumpy.
And without the proper development of the players and the time, Purdy is average. Right. True.
Grumpy there. Frank.
3 for 3 this weekend. The Cowboys are going to win tonight. I hope I'm wrong. You are wrong. First down right away. They don't run the ball. We're going to throw it right over the middle, first down.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, hey, here's the thing. Nice play call by Shanahan. And, Brock Purdy, I haven't watched the game. We've been on the show, but
that was the ball sidearm and just
You've got to trade one or the other. I firmly believe that. Drew L. Grumpy.
Cincinnati's beating the Chiefs because Mahomes has to play on that bum ankle next week. Okay. That's not the only reason. Cincinnati's a good team.
I think Cincinnati, the running game has been established. And I think that's a team to where, hey, if you can use the strength of the run game and you've got a quarterback as good and as talented as damn Joe Burrow with the wide receiver staff that the Bengals have with Jamar Chase, well, down the list, you're looking at a team that's deadly Cincinnati team.
And they have a chip on their shoulder.
Think about the Chiefs too. The Chiefs are not the same Chiefs last year that had Tyreek Hill.
No.
The Chiefs are significantly hindered, I think, at the wide receiver position. Guess what? Juju Smith-Schuster and Kadarius Toney, they're not Tyreek Hill.
They run
little
wide. They run those little wide receiver screens for Toney, intermediate routes for Juju Smith-Schuster, but the offense runs through Kelsey. The big improvement for the Chiefs this year is their running game. Isaiah Pacheco has taken over as the lead running back, and their offensive line's been really, really good.
Yeah, I just think the D line for the Chiefs is good. Chris Jones is good. Chris Jones, Grumpy, that's a local boy. That's a West Rowan boy by you.
They didn't put a whole lot of pressure on Lawrence yesterday for the most part.
I don't know. Again, I watched more. I definitely saw a few time periods where Lawrence had pressure right in his face. Lawrence holds on the ball a little long, as all young quarterbacks tend to do. But yeah. Anyway, Grumpy, continuing on there. Joseph C.
Worst time for Maher to get the yips when he was solid all season up till last week. He reminded me of Rick Ankiel or Chuck Knobloch.
Chuck Knobloch. Yeah, Brett Maher. I was about to ask you, who is bigger to blame, you think, for the Cowboys? And now obviously I think it's become more one-sided. But I mean, like, you look at some of these interceptions. I was going to show you some of the interceptions and we're going to look at them on screen. But now did Dak throw another? Did he only thrown 2 picks today, or is now up to
He's
3?
only thrown 2. We should have 4.
Oh gosh. But I mean, like, you look at this. This is the first pick.
I don't even know what the hell he's looking at.
Prescott fired.
My God.
Are you even looking? Do you not see the guy in red? I mean, there's no pressure on him. None.
Well, I don't know about that.
He's in wind up. He knows where he's going.
I apologize. Damn it. That's what happens sometimes. Let me try to refresh that. But, you know, it's right. The first pass was uncontested interception. And, right, the 49ers get great field position after that point, Grump. And then they're knocking on the doorstep.
And they get a field goal out of it.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you, right? The 49ers not being able to cap it off with a touchdown.
3rd long. Blitz coming. Prescott fires. Oh, it's intercepted. Far side of the field.
I can't tell you how many of those passes have been there to be picked off today.
Think about that. The 49ers took over that ball at the 10-yard line or the 15-yard line at home, and they're unable to knock this in. You've got to do better than that. I'm sorry, at the 20-yard line. You pretty much get it in the red zone. You're unable to execute.
Yeah.
And here's the second pick. I mean, this is not good. You're trying to jam it in.
It's like he was looking at the safety.
Prescott in.
What the hell was he throwing? Does he not see anyone on the field?
Double covered. And here's the thing. It's a 4-man rush.
The guys, I mean, there's no pressure on him.
If you're going to be hitting CeeDee Lamb, like, again, the linebacker kind of gets a little bit on him there as he's trying to hit into his break, but he's sitting there. He's supposed to be sitting. He's supposed to be sitting in that spot right here. You could go ahead. Here's the thing. What you should be doing.
What about the guy at the top? What about the guy at the top of the screen? Not
talking
looking
about
at
Dalton
Zeke.
Schultz, right? Dalton
Look
Schultz.
at the guy at the 8-yard line. He's wide open.
Well, it could be safety over top. So, I mean, like, we can't see the full screen. What you should have done here, throw this a little short and have CeeDee Lamb come down on it. But CeeDee Lamb starts breaking, as he should. You don't just be standing there, and he throws it right into the he throws it double coverage.
Prescott, it is picked off by Fred Warner. Warner's got it. Lamb chases him down in a second interception.
And Fred Warner's still an excellent linebacker at his age. Still fantastic, Grump.
Yeah.
Then the Cowboys kicker, Brett Maher, misses his 6th of the last 7 extra point attempts.
Here's the thing.
Holy
It was
shit.
blocked, but here's the thing.
It's still a miss.
If that wasn't blocked, he would have missed it by 30 feet. He hooked it so bad.
Oh, man. You've got to be worried if you're a Cowboy fan. And here's the thing. Jerry Jones, I know it's his team. He should step down as general manager. I say that all the time. He should step down as general manager. He should.
Hand it over to his version of Fredo?
No, he should get a real general manager. Hire an actual general manager to do it.
Do you think that's happening?
No, but I'm just telling you what he should do. It's not happening, but I'm just saying what he should do. I say it all the time. Drew L says, another day, another of Grumpy slobbing on Brady's knob like corn on the cob.
Just next year, watch out. He's back.
He's back, as Grumpy says. Oh, that's good. National League says, quiet about Tom Brady. He lost to the Cowgirls.
Yeah, a lot of things happened in that game. That season was a fait accompli.
Apex Legend says, hey, TJ, now that Clutterbum is injured yet again, I'll need to think of a new PC nickname for us. Love you guys. Oh, God. Love you too, Apex Legends. I do like Clutterbum. Frank, what's up? He says, hey, Grumpy Old Man and TJ, how are you doing? And a massive catch by CeeDee Lamb. Wow. They've got weapons in Dallas. But, like,
they don't have a quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
They got a younger version of Russell Wilson. Russell
Wilson was a lot. Yeah, I was about to say Russell Wilson was a lot better in his prime than Dak Prescott was.
The now Russell Wilson.
Sure. I'll give that to you. Goon Grumpy.
A while back, there was some jibber jabber about who is better, Marino or Elway. Elway takes the cake. 2-time Super Bowl champion his last 2 years. Marino, one fart Super Bowl performance and loss. Dan Marino was really good in the regular season. I think Miami suffered for the most part because their defense wore out. Marino would score, throwing to the marks, Duper and Clayton. They weren't on the field a whole lot. Matter of fact, they play offense an awful lot like how it's played today. But back in the day, other teams grounded out. So your defense would kind of get ground out by the end of the day. And I don't know how great he was in the big moments either.
I'll tell you this. With Marino, I mean, the weapons-wise, wouldn't you say Elway had better weapons than Marino consistently throughout his career?
No, absolutely not. Man, Marino had some – Mark Duper and Mark Clayton were phenomenal. They were phenomenal. They were 10 years each there. I mean, Elway had some I don't think their weapons were great, and it wasn't until he had a running game that they won. He had Vance Jackson as a wide receiver. It was definitely Marino had better, much more talent. They also had Jimmy Cephalo was a good wide receiver out of Penn State. They were good.
I have to rely upon completely you, Grumpy, because I did not watch either of those guys play during their career. I didn't know the wide receiver weapons. I thought, though, Elway
was like Josh Norman to a certain extent.
Are you talking about Josh Norman, the defensive back?
I'm sorry, Josh Allen. Sorry.
Okay. I was about to say, bringing a little defensive. I'm like, Grumpy's going to be he's playing damn chess as I'm playing checkers over here. What's up, Frank? How are you? The Canucks are in shambles, says Andrew L. Yeah.
Fired Bruce Boudreau today and hired Rick Tocchet.
The worst part is that was leaked well before it happened. Yes. I'm telling you.
That's bad.
Canucks need to start looking to who are the loose ends on this team? Who do we need to clean out? That's inexcusable, in my opinion. You cannot. It can't be like. Could you imagine? Right, as shambolic as I think the Islanders are right now, and it still is nowhere near as bad as other organizations. But could you imagine if they were saying we're firing Lane Lambert, but everybody knew about it 2 or 3 days beforehand, and we knew who the replacement was because it was leaked well before that. I'm pretty sure Lou Lamoriello would murder whoever leaked that. He'd find out who leaked that information, and that person would cease to exist.
True.
Oh, gosh. Joseph C., if the Cowboys advance, they're going to get steamrolled by the Eagles.
You know what the rule on returning punts is?
Don't return a punt inside your own 10.
So should you be fair catching a ball at the 5?
No.
Well, 45 seconds to go in the game. No timeouts for Dallas from their own 6-yard line. 1st and 10, and Dak Prescott your quarterback. I hope you book your tickets, 49ers fans, to Philadelphia.
Watch out, though. If you're flying to Philly, you better wear some green or black to that game. I know the 49ers, Grumpy, maybe it's the city of love out there in San Fran, but you better watch out. You're not going to get the city of brotherly love in Philly is not going to give you so much love.
What is he doing? I swear I wish we could show the end of this game. He's a nightmare, Prescott. I'd look at this. I'm like, we're cutting you. I don't care what the cap hit is. You're gone.
Oh, God. I do want to show you. Alexander sent us a little film, a little ditty, Grumpy, because the 49er fans, they were getting prepped to go to Philly, Grumpy, believe it or not. And, this is another one of these films to where somebody is a criminal offender. They film in freaking portrait mode and not landscape. How many times do we have to say this, ladies?
We do have some good view of like 3 rows of seats.
I know, but they should just be filming this landscape. But let's watch, Grumpy. The San Fran fans are getting ready to head to Philly, Grumpy. They know they've got to be ready to fight and throw down, Grump. Oh,
kick was is that a man or a woman getting kicked?
It's a lady. 2 ladies kicking.
That was a guy that was kicking it.
That was a lady.
That was a lady?
Yeah.
No lady, not the one who kicked her to start with.
Watch again. That's a lady right here.
Oh yeah, look at that. Why is she kicking her? Is that security?
I don't know. No, security doesn't get out there. Who knows? I don't think they have security at the
San Francisco. They don't believe in crime. They don't believe in stopping criminals there.
She picks up a beer. Yeet. Then she throws the beer at this lady's face. Where are the security guards when you get, wow! And she gets tackled that you can't really see too much of. But man, oh man, look at this. No security guards fighting. No securities in action. Oh, my God.
It's San
Wouldn't it be
Francisco.
nice? Where are the security guards?
It's San Francisco.
My gosh. Alexander sent this to us. But I did like the stomp. I did like the leg stomp. I mean, we've seen a lot of things in fan fights. I've never seen a leg stomp. That's for certain, Grumpy.
Look at Brock Purdy. Not only is he an average quarterback on the field,
he's a caring individual. Oh, here we go. Here's security. God, they don't have the yellow vest. That's why they struggle. Look at this. 1, boom. 2. I have never seen somebody in a fan fight.
If somebody kicks you, aren't you going back at them right away? You're backing away. I'm picking up whatever I got, and I'm going to beat the living hell out of you.
I don't. Yikes. Where's her man? Where's her friends? Did she go by the game by herself? Because I'm like, she's getting stomped on. Look at this. I can't get over the fact that she's getting. I've never seen somebody stomp on somebody in a fan fight. 1, 2 times.
That's that bitch. I'm surprised she could even get her leg up over those chairs. Lucky she was holding on to the guy. That's the only reason she was able to get her leg up and stand erect.
She was about to swing. Look at this. This lady was about to swing. Don't do that. Don't do
you know
that.
what? To me, you got to start throwing hands.
Oh my God! Man, more water. This lady just took it. There's nothing else. She just got whooped. It wasn't much of a fight, but I did like the fact that there was a leg kick thrown in there, Grumpy. We've never seen. Hey, something new under the fan fight segment. A little bit of a leg kick, Grump.
Do you want to know who's another loser? Dalton Schultz.
Oh, did he drop a football?
He's right on the sidelines. He's got 1 foot down, and he doesn't drag the second foot. He lifts it. Hey, let's lift it up, throw it out of bounds. Dude, I don't care. Were you afraid to go down on the ground?
Goon, Grumpy.
Who was more popular with the ladies back in the good old days? Broadway Joe, Wilt the Stilt, or Kelly Leak? All right. Kelly Leak, absolutely not. Because as you remember, Kelly Leak, when they went to the ballet class, was trying to hook up with some of the ballet girls, and he just got dismissed. So it's not Kelly Leak.
What was that, Grumpy? Just got
bitch slapped. Got totally dismissed. Nope, sorry. Wilt the Stilt, he was always telling us of his prowess, okay, with the ladies. But Joe Namath, I mean, he'd be on the street like, Joe! Oh! Women started liking football because Joe Namath was there.
Is that why we have to thank Joe Namath for all the ladies who love football?
Broadway Joe.
Okay.
It was like the Beatles. Broadway Joe.
Broadway Joe. Anthony Rizzi.
It wasn't even close.
Bengals and 49ers in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, 49ers are not beating the Eagles. They're not beating the Eagles.
Frank says, Grandpa Man TJ was on Isles Girl podcast earlier today. She said, you guys been trying to pick a day, but haven't. Get her on. She had great views on the Islanders, similar to us here. Bye, Lou. I know. I know. I've got a, trust me, it's all on me, Frank. Anything that is not getting done is because I just haven't made it happen just quite yet. So thank you for the reminder. We're trying to get everything formulated. It seems like Wednesdays work for everybody. So I'm getting people booked out like a month and a half in advance. So if anybody knows people who like going on Saturdays, let me know. The Eagles are nasty, says Frank. And the Eagles versus the Bengals in the Super Bowl. Wow. Now see, this makes me worry a bit. Everybody now is all of a sudden on the, it's pretty much a lock since he's winning. I just hope they don't take that. Here's the thing. I think since he does beat the Chiefs, but the Chiefs are not going to be an easy out.
Yeah, I agree. But I just think that since in big games, Patrick Mahomes isn't that great either. Look at the.
I do agree with that. In big games, Mahomes is not as good as what we think he should be.
He's not as he is in regular season. Just isn't. He's a good front runner. But think about it. If it wasn't for Jimmy Garoppolo shitting the bed, Mahomes was terrible in the Super Bowl he won till with 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
Then he made some plays. He was absolutely invisible in the game against the Buccaneers.
Yeah, he was. That was one of the worst games he had all year, and it was an MVP season for him, I believe.
This is an MVP season too. Was he great yesterday? He was hurt, so he gets a little bit of a mulligan there. But even last year when they lost to Cincinnati, man, he made some plays that make you scratch your head. And at the end of the day, they took Kelsey away. And that was that. He nothing to do. So
Grumpy Goon.
The Giants have nothing to be ashamed of. They're probably a year ahead of schedule and won a playoff game. Well, the Jets were at home, tickling their tuckuses.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. The Giants should be proud. Giants fans should be proud of what they had this year from their team as well. They should. Drew L. Grumpy.
TJ was waiting to see Danny Dimes fail. He needs a better interior offensive line and receivers. He didn't peak. TJ, stop it. TJ's just jealous that Zach Wilson is worse than him and will never be Danny Dimes.
I don't care about either of the two quarterbacks, to be quite frank. I'll tell you this. I think Wilson was mishandled. I'm not sure he's much of all that, to be quite frank.
Agreed.
But I think Daniel Jones, I definitely know Daniel Jones is not the answer. Simple. Sup, boys? What's up, D-Cut? Andrew L. Grumpy.
I love how in love everyone got with Daniel Jones because he beat up on the shitty Colts team and a no-heart Vikings team.
Right?
He had the best game of his career against the Vikings. He did.
And the Vikings were a paper tiger. Look at how many of those games, when you look back on it, this is the reason why I picked the Giants to beat the Vikings. Look at how many of those games the Vikings won by like 3 points or 7 points against really shitty teams.
They didn't have a defense.
I think I saw something. It's the only team that had won, I believe. I have to look it up. I think they had a negative point differential. They won their division, had a negative point differential with like 11 or 12 wins, whatever it was, with a negative point differential on the season. That's pretty shitty. It speaks for itself. James F. Grumpy.
By the way, the Dallas kicker would have missed another extra point. That kick like it was going to left before it was blocked. Yeah, it would have been horrible. It's actually, I'm glad for him that it got blocked.
So we couldn't see it actually get blocked.
Yeah, it was helicoptering. I thought it was Matt Barzell for a second.
Oh, good gracious, Grump. Yeah. So yes, the Vikings this year had 13 wins. I think they were the only team in the history of the NFL to have 13 wins or more, and they were -3 in points against. Point differential.
Hard to believe.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. Like when you look at the freaking Vikings, paper tiger. The regular season, 424 points scored, 427 points against. Yikes, man, yikes.
That's a bad division, isn't it?
I'd say.
Let me tell you something. This was a bad year for football.
I think so. Wait, we're seeing the transition, though. It doesn't happen overnight, but you could tell, right? The NFL is like, who are going to be the next guys? Who's going to be this? Well, you've got two bona fide guys who are going to be legit. Lawrence, Burrow are going to be legitimate. Mahomes is already a guy who's going to be one of those fantastic Hall of Fame caliber quarterbacks. Herbert has the possibility to. You got a lot of talent on the horizon.
And don't
Josh
leave
Allen is
out.
great, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 5. I said 4 quarterbacks before. Herbert needs a coach.
Yes.
He needs a coach because as long as that goof Staley's the head coach, he's never going to be as good as he can be.
Something also to mention about Stephon Diggs, Grumpy, just to pop this up. Stephon Diggs left the Bills locker room with his belongings before most coaches even made it into the tunnel. And running back Duke Johnson brought Stephon Diggs back to the locker room, but the wide receiver then left moments later. So
that's a really bad look for him.
A bad look for him as a teammate. At least you have the offseason to hopefully mend some bridges. But my God, this is acting like a petulant child after you lost. I didn't get the ball enough and we lost. I'm leaving. You're not, guess what? You're not Terrell Owens. You're not even Chad Ochocinco. You're not at that level. You cannot act that way because you're not that good.
Okay. Chad Johnson was not that great. Terrell Owens was a tremendous wide receiver. People forget that because of all of his antics, but he was a big game player. I mean, in a big game, he always showed up, always. He went to, I think, Winston-Salem State. I mean, yeah, I believe he did. I mean, he was a big game player, and all that gets overshadowed because he was such a jerk. Whereas he just could have just pretended like he was a human occasionally. Everyone would look at him a little bit differently because he was a tremendous wide receiver. Really was.
Talk about a touchdown machine, dude. He was a big, strong wideout too, man.
He got the ball in his hands. He's not like a regular wide receiver. You blow on him, they fall down. You had to make plays on him.
University of Tennessee, Chattanooga.
Why was I thinking Winston-Salem State? Okay, my bad.
I don't know. You look at the numbers that Chad Ochocinco, Chad Johnson put up in a time period where they threw the ball a lot less. I don't know. I don't know, Grumpy. I give it more to Johnson. I'd rather have Johnson than freaking.
No way. Oh, Stephon Diggs? No. They're two different wide receivers, first of all. Stephon Diggs is vertical. He's vertical downfield.
Chad Johnson, his prime was something special. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, moving along there, Grumpy. Jones is good. Daniel Jones is good, says Frank. Carr to the Jets, please, says Rob.
Have to give up at least a second-round pick to get him.
Yeah. Frank says he has literally no wide receivers, talking about Daniel Jones.
True.
Drew L. Grumpy.
Thank you, Empire. How can quarterbacks even do anything with a half a second of protection and their best wide receiver being a 6th-round pick, Richie James?
Just because you're picked in a late spot doesn't mean you can't be a good wideout. I mean, look at Antonio Brown. Where was he selected? I mean, the guy was, right, if he didn't have the off-the-field craziness, he was going to be a first-ballot Hall of Fame receiver.
He was tremendous. Didn't he go to NC State?
No, Antonio Brown you're talking about?
Yeah, wasn't he at NC State?
No, my God, you're all off the board. No, Antonio Brown. I gotta look that up. He did not go to NC State though. A smaller school, Central Michigan.
Central Michigan. Okay.
CMU. Yep. And Grumpy Drew L.
Hurts has A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith with Dallas Goedert. That's why they're going to win next week. Period.
It's the weapons.
Yep. They're good. They're good. I don't like Philadelphia. Never have. Going way, way, way back. But they're good. They're really good.
Brian J. Grumpy.
And I'll tell you what. Jalen Hurts, I'm rooting for him.
He's a nice guy.
He's a nice
guy.
He really is. And what he went through to get where he is, hats off. If I were in a hat, hats off to you, Jalen Hurts, without a doubt. Brian John says, I'm not sold on Jones without Dayball. He's a backup quarterback. He's going to want a big contract. I wouldn't give him more than 2 years. If he wants a big deal, I think they draft a quarterback. Maybe they go after Anthony Richardson from Florida. He's got tremendous skills, but he's raw as like a head of broccoli, raw, right off the store shelves, right out of the freezer section, raw.
Franklin.
I didn't want Carr, but then found out he has a garbage coach and offensive coordinator. They are obviously trying to sabotage him. He had 24 touchdown passes. Here's the thing. He struggled in the Josh McDaniels offense, and they don't want to pay him what he's supposed to make the next 2 years. Period.
Joseph C. said, I think it would be a huge mistake for Tom Brady or Tom to go to the an AFC team with all the great quarterbacks in the conference. He should find an NFC team. That's why I think that 49ers team is a perfect fit for him. Going back home to the 49ers.
And the whole thing is, it's like 1 year. That's it. I mean, realistically, he can still make all the throws. Still can. But how much longer, really? 1, 2 years tops?
1 year. I think he's got 1 year. This last year, I think this year's going to be the last year. He'll be 45 this year. That's it.
No, he'll be 46 this year.
Yeah, this should be your last year. TJ's just a Danny Dimes hater.
Oh,
well,
I don't like Danny Dimes.
I don't. That's correct. Rob says after watching this game, San Francisco has to offer the house to get Tom Brady.
And the whole thing is they can get him on a cheap deal.
That's
he doesn't care about the money. He don't care about the money.
He cares about the accolades, the glory, the records. James F. says, Brady going to Miami because Brady leased an apartment in Miami. Costs $70K a month. Pretty small, pretty reasonable size apartment. Only $70K a month, just a cheap.
It's not like an apartment building. I mean, $70,000 a month, that's a lot of money.
It's going to be like a penthouse on the beach or something crazy. But hey, it's not just like Kyle Palmieri. Just because they buy houses doesn't mean they're guaranteed spots over here. These aren't the New York Islanders we're talking about here.
Miami's not a bad spot for him either, to be honest.
Two fantastic weapons there.
And they run the San Francisco offense there, which is perfect for him. Quick passes, get the ball, make a quick read, get rid of the ball. That's him. That's his game.
Anthony Rizzo says, Rodgers to the Jets, Jets.
No.
D-cut, Grumpy.
How did that work out the last time they did that? Fire TJ, hire D-cut.
Oh, I feel like I've heard that one before, Grumpy. But Frank.
It's a miracle, Drew. He made those garbage receivers way better than they are. I know a couple are respectable, so I don't mean actual garbage, LOL. Talking about the Giants wide receivers. No, he's not a wide receiver maker. He's not.
Okay, so this is, I guess, what Drew is posting. Drew sent us a few memes. I'll pop them up here. First one there, Grumpy. I'll let you read there.
Brock Purdy is reportedly expected to be the 49ers starting quarterback in 2023. Didn't they make that mistake before with a guy with the number 10 previously?
Who is that you're talking about, Grumpy?
Jimmy Garoppolo. From a 3-star recruit to Mr. Irrelevant to potentially becoming the face of an NFL franchise, the 49ers rookie quarterback has defied all odds. This is the thing. Kyle Shanahan thinks he's a mastermind. What has Kyle Shanahan ever won? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And reporters asked Stephon Diggs questions.
It's like an actual customer out here. What's the best kind of firework to buy?
Wouldn't you like to know, weather boy?
Where are your parents? Kid's sketchy.
Where are your parents? Yeah, Stephon Diggs is just having issues. Now, Grumpy, I'm not sure if you know what this meme is, but this is a meme that's going around the internet. It's like from this Puss in Cats thing or something like that.
Puss in Boots.
This is Puss in Boots, whatever it is. The Bengals are there to get him. They're there to get the puss guy. There it is. Watch out. Watch out for those Bengals. They're there. Kendor. Oh, God. Remember that earlier on in the year?
I do. And just to let you know, the Carolina Panthers are interviewing Ken Dorsey for their head coaching job this week.
Yeah. Oh, look, Grumpy. It's Tom Brady.
You know what? It's funny. He looks so much better than that.
Oh, yeah. I was about to say, he's looking a little old in this picture there.
He looks pretty old. Yeah, that beard thing.
I'd say, Grumpy. Oh gosh. Anyway,
I don't think he was. I don't think he was ever capable of growing a full beard. By the way.
Grumpy, moving along though. Grumpy.
Drew says Aaron Rodgers is just finished. Period. He's a game manager that turns it over at this point in his career. No, he's the same guy he's always been, which is a me guy for certain. But he's not finished. If he had some weapons, he'd be fine. He's good. I wouldn't take him in a big game, but I mean, he's really good. I don't think you can deny that he's good. He's certainly not finished.
John Mack, Grumpy. John McMahon. Grumpy.
The Finns need someone other than
Tua.
Oh, Tua. Okay.
I agree.
Like, who the heck's Tegan?
Frank says fire TJ, hire D-Cut.
Ooh.
I've heard this. I feel like I've heard that before. Anthony Rizzi, Grumpy.
No Lamar for either the Jets or the Giants. I heard that Atlanta and Carolina are in the lead for Lamar if he's traded.
Wow. I'll tell you that much.
He's not getting traded. He's not getting traded.
Brian J says Anthony Richardson is a project like Lamar Jackson was. I wonder if the Giants draft him.
There you go. He's like really raw, way more raw. I mean, he only completed like 53% of his passes like last year. In college, that's like, I'm sorry.
That's awful.
Yes. That's not
straight up. Think about the expectations I had for Florida going into this year and where they finished up.
I heard the comparison for him is like Cam Newton with a better arm.
Oh, okay. I'll have to wait. Again, I'll have to wait.
I'm just telling you what I heard. I'm just telling you what I heard.
Goon Grumpy.
Will it just be smart enough to get a real starter, Carr, Jackson, Rodgers, plus a veteran journeyman as a backup so they're not caught with their pants down again? Or do they do the same old thing?
I don't think backup wise. They said they're completely behind Zach Wilson. We're completely behind Zach Wilson, just like the Baltimore Ravens are 200% behind Lamar Jackson. I'll be interested to see what the Giants say. Are they going to be fully behind Daniel Jones? We're fully behind Daniel Jones. We'll wait to see what it comes out next week.
I've never heard them say they're fully behind Daniel Jones.
I said, will the Giants? Nobody says that until the season's over and they say, we're fully behind this guy. They all happen to say the same exact thing. No, we're fully behind Daniel Jones. We're fully behind Lamar Jackson. We're fully behind Zach Wilson. Every team is fully behind their quarterback until they trade for another one, and that quarterback ceases to be the starter. Frank Grumpy.
Please, Lord, do not let the Jets get Rodgers. Please.
And dear Lord, don't let it happen. Rodgers could go to the Raiders.
I don't know. I don't think so.
We got here. I like Tannehill. Too cheap.
No.
Oh man, I tell you,
That was a little sing-song no there.
Tannehill's not the answer. And Johnny Mac there, John McMahon there, Grumpy says here, the Finns will need somebody better than Tua. Grumpy, who will it be?
If they hadn't got caught trying to smuggle in Brady last year, I'd say Brady. But I just don't think that's going to be. I don't know. He is an unrestricted free agent. What do you do with Tua? Right?
Thanks, Tua.
I mean,
door hit you on the way out. Take care of your mental health.
Are you even able to move him? Because I think that who's the kid, the Thompson kid, I thought he showed well enough in the game against Buffalo that maybe he could be something. I mean, he was drafted just before Purdy. So, maybe you can develop him behind Brady for a year. I mean, he would not be opposed to playing in Miami.
Jones is going to command $25+ million a year. That's a little too steep.
No,
Exactly.
He's
going to get. That's what all quarterbacks get paid if you're a starter. That's what you get paid. That's why I'm saying Daniel Jones can't be the answer. I don't want Lamar either for the Jets, says Frank. He's overrated, gets hurt. He will cost a fortune in salary and picks. No, thank you, Lamar Jackson. Rob says negative on Lamar. Discount Michael Vick. Drew L. Grumpy.
Speaking of Jones, this was his first 2-year development because Dave Gettleman couldn't get Jones the proper coaching staff. That's why he's gone.
Drew, we're going to have a come to Jesus moment one year where it's just like you finally realize Daniel Jones is not the answer. But Rob, Grumpy.
Jones is talking like he's looking to go. Bye-bye. Bye.
Later.
Bye. Because unless you're giving like a massive hometown discount, we don't need you.
Mm-hmm.
Frank from Empire State says, by the way, Allen and the Bills aren't as good since the Giants plucked those 3 coaches, and Jones was way, way better, which proves quarterbacks need good coaches, which gives me hope for Zach Wilson. Mm. Well, I don't think they've picked an OC yet, have they, the Jets?
I thought let me pull it up. I'll pull it up, Grumpy.
I don't think they have. I think they're still looking.
Yeah, it was New York Jets interview son of Super Bowl winning coach for offensive vacancy. Oh, God. Let's see who that is. Oh, Gary Kubiak's son.
Again, the nepotism thing, right?
Hey, I know somebody here, so, hey, look out for Johnny. He'll be successful. How about Carr to the Giants?
I don't know. See, he doesn't fit what they do. He likes quarterback who run a little bit. That's what he likes.
Daniel Jones to the Jets, says Goon Goon.
Oh, my God. That'd be a night. I feel bad for Jets fans.
Oh, I'd take Jones for the Jets, says Frank.
No.
Rob saying, please, God, no. Yeah. No. Anthony Rizzi Grump.
Brady to the Rangers, Rodgers to the Jets, Carr to the Ravens, Lamar to Atlanta, Jimmy G to the Pats, Smith back to Seattle, Brown back to the Giants. Or how about maybe Jones back to the Giants? Maybe he's talking about Dave Brown back to the Giants.
Frank there, Grumpy.
Jets have a shit ton of talent in wide receivers and tight ends and running backs. If the line is solid like it should, Jones would kill it on the Jets. No.
Gungun also saying he agrees with you. The Bengals and the Eagles there at the
absolutely.
Super Bowl. No for fucking Karen Rodgers to the Jets. Please, God, no is what he says.
Karen Rodgers.
Oh, man. Oh, that's a good one instead of Aaron Rodgers. Frank says Dallas's run defense is number 1, grumpy old man.
When it wasn't down the stretch against San Francisco, they couldn't stop him when it counted.
D-cut, Grump.
Burrow has leapfrogged Allen in the quarterback ratings. Mahomes number 1, but Big Dick Joe is not far behind. I'm going to tell you what. Joe Burrow's number 1 for me. Because he wins big games. Wins big games.
Yep. I don't disagree with that, Grump. I don't disagree with that.
In a big game, I'm taking him over Mahomes.
Joseph C. Grumpy.
Dan Quinn is a great defensive coordinator. Too bad his whole career will be remembered for choking 28-3 with Brady. And you know who else was on that staff? Kyle Shanahan.
Really?
When
that Falcon staff, I forgot, they were pretty loaded staff.
They were pretty good. Matt Ryan was league MVP that year.
Yeah, think about that.
They had Count Chocula as the owner, Mrs. Chocula as, the wife of the owner.
What does Miss Chocula look like, Grumpy? I'm curious.
I don't know. You could pull up their pictures from the Super Bowl.
Hold on a second.
Mrs. Chocula. The Countess Chocula. Count Chocula and Countess Chocula. Arthur Blank and
I'm not
Mrs.
sure there
Arthur
is
Blank.
a Miss Count or is a Count Chocula.
She would know. She
Mrs.
was there.
Chocula.
She was there.
I'm
No,
looking
not a
for an actual
cereal.
character. Okay, I was looking for an
No,
actual character.
No, he's Count Chocula. I mean, you could put them up side by side. Tell me I'm lying. They're definitely the ones. Count Chocula and Arthur Blank are one and the same. And Mrs. Chocula was next to Arthur. It's
Okay.
Count Arthur Chocula.
Hold on a second. We'll get it pulled up here.
And supposedly, because Brady wanted to go to San Francisco when he left.
I don't know.
New
They
England.
said the Raiders, so I don't know.
I said
Grumpy.
Brady wanted to go.
Brady wanted to go to
San
the Raiders
Francisco.
then.
He wanted to go to San Francisco.
Okay, that was the Raiders per Dana White, per Rob Gronkowski. But fair enough.
Oh, that's a different Mrs. Chocula.
No, that's Count Chocula right there, buddy.
I know that's Count Chocula, but that's a different Mrs. Chocula, I believe.
That is that's the same Mrs. Chocula.
From the Super Bowl?
Yes, same
I don't
Miss
think
Chocula.
So she's had work done. She looks like she's shorter and younger. Mrs. Chocula.
Burrow is so smooth, coming into his own in the greatness department.
Yes.
He is great. He's got that it factor, says Rob.
That he does.
Frank says, hit the thumbs up, guys. See if more peeps get on. Thanks there, Frank. Always, always. Andrew L said, what an idiot. He should have returned that. Or maybe should not have returned that ball. Rob Grumpy.
Giants need to avoid the fool's gold and keep building this team through the draft. They're not one or two players away. Exactly. They're not one or two players away. They're a bunch of skilled players away.
Here you go. D-cut.
Be careful putting Butterball in the Hall of Fame. Remember the man genius? After 1 year, the New York media had him as the next Belichick. Now he's selling car insurance. Actually, I think he's working for one of the networks as like a contributor.
Butterball. Who's Butterball?
Butterball. I don't know who Butterball is.
I don't know. I was about to say, D-cut, who is Butterball? Tell me. Drew L. Grump.
Don't forget, guys, like Wan'Dale Robinson, who was their number one receiver, suffered okay, Wan'Dale Robinson is okay. He's a slot guy. He suffered a season-ending injury, so yes, Daniel Jones deserves a short-term extension, whether you like it or not. You bald-headed jerk.
Oh my God.
He's
Watch
he's
that.
not. Why would he take a short-term extension?
Exactly. He just had the best season of his NFL career with a new head coach. You bet and say, hey, gotcha. I'm looking to go ahead and sign big money. I'm looking to get that contract. Simple as that. Joseph C. Grumpy.
Got to give Daboll credit. Most people thought the Giants were a 4 to 5 win team. The fact that they got to 9 wins with that roster seems like a small miracle.
It is. The unfortunate thing is now we're just stuck in more no man's land until we figure out what we're going to do. But hopefully we trust general manager to make the right picks. Justice for James Robinson, says Drew L. If Buffalo only traded up to draft Breece Hall, oh, how some teams never learn.
Yeah. I mean, when you're that close, you kind of go all in, don't you?
I'd say. James F. Grumpy.
Did you know Turpin played in the USFL last season? And now he's on the Cowboys. He was actually pretty good for them.
D-Cut says, I can't stand the Bosa brothers, steroid up meatheads who probably rape tons of chicks in college. Here's the thing. Everybody uses steroids in the NFL.
I don't like
the
them
majority use steroids or performance-enhancing drugs.
I don't like them either.
You don't like the Bosas?
No.
Why not?
They remind me of J.J. Watt.
Really?
Yep.
Here's the thing. I think they're both extreme. I think they're extremely
I didn't say they weren't good players.
I'm just telling you what I think. I think they're both extremely talented players. I think that, I don't know. There's a lot of hate to them, and I don't understand the reason for the hate. You don't like them because you feel like they're self-promoters. I don't feel it's that extent. But hey, Paulo C. Grumpy.
The Bengals will beat Kansas City and win the Super Bowl against San Francisco like I predicted in December. And don't change my mind anymore. But yes, Grumpy, the Eagles can make Super Bowl.
Frank also says there, why? Yeah. Keep saying that why Hall is on the Jets, baby, where he's destined to be. And then Drew says here, hold on a second. Let's continue on there. Word is Calvin Ridley bet the under on this game.
Ooh, okay.
That's a good one. So apparently Stephon Diggs has not changed since his Minnesota days, as now he is threatening to leave the Bills or something. I know he yelled at Josh Allen earlier. Yeah, it's not a good look. I mean, what do you think about his ability? Do you think he comes back to the team? What do you think's going to happen with that?
He'll be back.
Okay. He'll be back. Fair enough. Andrew L. Grumpy.
He went from Wake Forest to MSU, not Rutgers, Grump. Okay, Wake Forest. I thought he was
Kenneth Walker played for Wake Forest.
I guess.
Frank Grumpy.
But it's weird how the Bills haven't addressed the running back position, Drew. Even P. Ryan would have helped. He was good on the Jets, but the Jets have a lot of good backs, and they had to let him go.
McManaman Grumpy.
Grump, Auburn created an NIL initiative that starts at $30 a month, Zoom time with players, autographs, so on and so forth. They got 12 transfer portal players this window. That's what it is. I bet they're making more than $30 a month.
No, they're not. You have to pay $30 a month. You could Zoom time with players, autographs, and so forth type of thing. Yeah, Kenneth Walker played for freaking Wake Forest. Here's the thing that shocked me so much. At Wake Forest, the 2 years he was at Wake, 579 yards both of those years. And then he moves to the Big Ten. He had 1,600 rushing yards. So you talk about how different things go. John McManaman Grump.
The next transfer portal is after spring practice, 3-week period.
Yep.
Auburn will get a quarterback, either backup or a starter then.
Grumpy Rob.
Grump makes sense. NFL wants to make the championship game Super Bowl lights. Absolutely. Greedy bastards.
Frank C. Grumpy.
Grumpy is right about the neutral site. I was thinking the same thing. He's absolutely right. Thank you, Frank.
John McManaman there, Grump.
Auburn has $70 million in the new initiative. The average payout to players was $70K. They were a 5-win team.
Think about that, though. Tough. You're always going to have the ability to get those top tier recruits where you're saying, hey, $70K, come on down.
And a college education.
$70K college education, you name it, we've got it. D-cut, Grump.
Zach Taylor is Vince Lombardi compared to that clueless child Staley. I'll go with that.
Oh, my God. And that was BS by Stephon Diggs. Wide receivers are such a bunch of such bitch divas. Tight ends rule.
True. 100%
Rob
agree.
says spot on about Josh Allen. Stand up, throw off the jacket, and get in his face. Yep. I got those, Drew. And Drew also said, yep. Why? That's why Minnesota got rid of Diggs. Plain and simple.
Yeah, he caused quite a ruckus there, too. See, and you know what? He behaved himself for a few years, and then, something doesn't go his way. Now, here's the thing. I think he wants to win. I do believe he wants to win. But he should have controlled himself today. And that's when they played Cincinnati earlier, he wanted to keep playing that game. I think it would have ended the same way this one did, to be honest with you.
Frank says, don't get the podcast axed by the NFL. Oh gosh. D-Cut says, I think the top 5 Grump: Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Lawrence, and Herbert.
Yeah. I'm leaving Brady and Rodgers out because their time left in the league is limited. Right. But those two guys are right. They're absolutely right in that mix. But I'm talking about, the next wave of guys. I'm not talking about whoever's still left standing.
Zach,
I'm going to tell you what, that's not the order I'm putting them in, by the way. I'm not putting
Zach
them in that order.
will be back, Grumpy. D-Cut says, TJ, pay attention to this show and stop messaging your little buddies like Phil's Facts and Andy Francis.
Yeah.
Stop. I'm trying to make sure I got the next points we're talking about pulled up. And Frank says, why do you have to trade one, TJ? I think that, right, you talk about asset management. Let's say you keep both Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. The only thing that's going to happen is both of them go down in value or one goes down in value. Here's the thing. Even if both of them are not the answer, trade one of them while they have perceived value. Trey Lance played 2 or 3 games. I think teams still perceive that he has value. Do you value Trey Lance or Brock Purdy more? Brock Purdy, right, has played well enough in the regular season. He's helped this team, right? As the quarterback, he's helped them get to the NFC Championship game, right? That's worth something. That's worth value. As Mr. Relevant, you could say, yeah, the guy played well. He's been his record as a quarterback for us was 7-1 or whatever the hell it's going to be. Even if they lose and get kicked out, he's going to have perceived value. You will never have more value in both of the quarterbacks together than you have this offseason right now. What's going to happen is one either tanks in value as he becomes the backup, or one skyrockets, and you're not going to trade the guy who's the quarterback.
Trey Lance is the odd man out. You're never going to get back what you traded to get him.
Think about how much they gave up to move up. They move up from number 5 to number 3, and they give up so many picks.
What do you think Trey Lance is worth? Second rounder? If you're the Giants, do you roll the dice with Daboll? He's a runner. He can run. Do you roll the dice for Trey Lance for a second round pick?
I don't think much of Trey Lance. But here's the thing. I do like Brian Daboll. I think Brian Daboll is a good developer of talent at the quarterback position. I do think he's very, very skilled at that. I think he's like the quarterback whisperer, unlike Shanahan, like they try to brand him as. I'm not too sold on Trey Lance. Simple. But I think that you've got to if Brock Purdy's going to be the guy going into next year, trade Trey Lance this offseason. Do it.
John Lynch really wanted Brady a few years ago. He wanted him, the GM of the 49ers. And I guess he and Shanahan didn't really hit it off, where he says, we run an offense. This is we stick to the plan no matter what. He says, how'd that work out for you in that Super Bowl? That's what Brady told him. And you're up 28-3, you kept with your plan. You didn't sometimes, and that's what a lot of coaches do. They think they're bigger than the players or whatever.
But they think what they prepare, right? You can't deviate away from what we've prepared.
Where it's always you always have to be ready to make alterations and changes and adjustments based on game situations.
You have to be flexible. You have to be malleable in order to be successful. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Dak is the unburrow.
Without a doubt.
He has overrated, says James Farrell. Who was on that too?
Okay, here's the thing. I like Dak Prescott as a person.
As do I.
Really nice young man.
Mm-hmm.
But no. No. Not if I win and win games. No. Sorry.
Yep.
He was terrible today.
Brady looking for waterfront property in San Francisco after this game, says Rob. I like that. Kittle or Kelsey? Travis Kelce.
Kelsey. Now here's the thing. Kittle is a more well-rounded tight end.
But Kelsey is such a good pass catcher. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. People, I'm sure everyone knows Brady's from San Francisco area.
Yes. Yep. Okay, here. Joe Mixon is so overrated, but he should do well against Kansas City. See, I don't get that. I don't think Joe Mixon's overrated. Do you think Joe Mixon's overrated, Grumpy?
I don't know. See, I've never thought he was great anyway. I think he's a good back. I mean, do I think he's one of the top backs in the league? No, but I think he's good. Here's the thing. He was really good today. He ran hard.
I think think about how bad that Cincinnati offensive line was. This year, the offensive line was better, but it took a while to establish the run game. The run game has been much more effective over the last few weeks. The run game lately has been effective.
This was the best they ran the ball all year was today.
Yeah. Gungun.
The offensive line was on a mission.
Good, and they should be.
Gungun says, how come we don't see flea flickers called more often in the NFL today? Because everyone's too fast.
I think.
Yeah, and usually they've seen everything.
The possibility for shit to go wrong with a flea flicker is much higher. I feel like it's just unbelievably high. And it's like you could go ahead and get players back. You could go ahead and make sure they're covering well enough. The athletes can go ahead and get to the quarterback quicker and cover quicker once they notice that flea flicker is happening. Too long of a developing play. Travis Kelce, but it's close, says Rob. D-Cut says.
To me, it's not that close because Kelsey's always healthy. Whittle's always hurt.
Kittle. Yeah, but
Kittle.
Sorry. D-Cut says here, Kelsey has a much better quarterback than George Kittle. That's a good point.
Yeah, here's the thing. Kittle is like Gronkowski. They both know how to block. Travis Kelce is just a wide receiver. That's what he is. He's a big wide receiver. So he's not really involved in the physicality of the play in and out. So, he just goes, everything's for a pass play with him. Everything's out of pass play for him. When the last time you see him pancake anybody?
I don't think I've ever seen him.
I mean, Gronk was blocking defensive ends. Even last year.
Tight ends are never as good as blockers as you'd like them to be, but Gronk guys like that were better blockers than most.
I mean, I tell you what, Dallas must have dropped 3 or 4 interceptions right in their hands today, too.
You mean the 49ers?
No, I'm talking about Dallas.
Oh, Dallas. Oh, so Brock Purdy threw a few interceptions, but they weren't actually caught.
Well, yeah, they're not interceptions because they weren't caught, but right through their hands.
4 passes. Okay.
Right through their hands.
Grumpy, who do you prefer, George Kittle or Ron Kittle? Says Gungun.
Ron Kittle.
Okay.
I think George Kittle's a big mouth. Ron Kittle could hit that ball a mile.
Master Legayoda says Dak has no vision.
I disagree. He's got tunnel vision. And it's funny, on one of those plays that was in it that should have been an interception, they scored a touchdown 2 plays later. And that was game.
Rob says Kittle is more Kellen Winslow. Kelsey is more Gronk.
No, that's the absolute opposite. Absolute opposite.
Stephen A. rolling on his couch right now, seeing the Cowboys lose again. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
It's Skip Bayless. Tears about or tears. Maybe what I'm saying. Tears about the Cowboys.
Skip Bayless's tears about the Cowboys make me feel better. The Cowboys going to Cowboy.
Cowboys gonna Cowboy. Kellen Winslow was my guy. Man, I should have stayed with the Chargers. That was my team with Dan Fouts, the Arnold Choo-Choo Train, James Joyner, etc., but never on TV. So I became a Jets fan. No! LOL. Oh,
True.
good gracious. Yeah. And Chuck Muncie was a beast, Grumpy.
He used to run wearing glasses. He ran up and down. Chuck Muncie was a good back. He had a cocaine problem, though.
Frank Grump.
Fouts was almost better than Marino and Elway in some ways. No, he wasn't.
D-Cut says Elway carried 3 mediocre teams to the Super Bowl.
Very true.
No, TJ. He was talking about defensive back Cooper. DB Cooper, Grump. There he is.
The legendary defensive back Cooper.
Elway was great. Don't get me wrong, but the strongest arm, but don't get me wrong, but strongest arm like Namath.
Yeah, he had a cannon. And his thing, Marino had a great arm too.
Drew L says here the Canucks moves are getting leaked, or Lou is hiding everyone or everything.
Better? I'd rather.
Better? I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, as an organization, you don't want to leak your stuff, but as a fan, you want things leaked. It gives you something to talk about.
I would just like our team to seem like we're competent. And I feel like the fan base thinks our general manager and organization grows more and more incompetent as we continue to fail with what we try to do. And again, because nothing's leaked, we really have no idea what the team is attempting to do either. Joseph C. Grumpy.
Marino had more talent than Elway. No, he didn't. He had a quicker release than Elway, but he didn't have the arm Elway had. But that's about it. Elway was more mobile, more clutch, etc. Marino, the thing that made Marino so good, just like Namath, was how quick they got rid of that ball.
Decat Grump.
Tua congratulated the Bills today for making the AFC title game. Sorry,
take it deep, Alexander. No, he didn't say so. Dak Prescott is a Jets player who doesn't play for the Jets.
True.
Oh, God.
There's so few players that always come up big in big situations. And it's harder to see in football, or actually it's more noticeable in football because the quarterbacks are always on center stage.
Milo Brownie says, I'll be the voice of advocacy for every other sport deserving some me time on here. Hire Milo Brownie instead of Dika.
Oh!
Grump, let's
It's
talk.
a new contender for the throne.
Let's talk, Grumpy. Let's talk a little bit. I mean, we've been talking pretty much football for 2 hours. I trust me. This is like the last little bit, the last little few weeks we talk football like this, because as football goes to the off season, well, it kind of gets put in a review.
Got the draft coming up, got free agency coming up.
Yeah, but it's not. We don't talk about it as in depth as we do during season, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah,
U.S. men's soccer team, Grumpy. I know you wanted to go ahead and speak a little bit about that.
I didn't. They fired the general manager. The head coach is just hanging on to his job, and the helicopter parents want Claudio Reyna to be the star of that team.
I thought they fired the
He's like the head guy, the director, whatever the director
for the United States men's national team.
Yes,
which is odd. I wonder if that's also going to remember. Berhalter doesn't have an extension, right? His contract had expired. They haven't extended him. I would assume, based off of this right here, you go ahead and fire the guy who's like the U.S. men's national soccer team director I assume what's going to happen next too. You're not giving extension to Berhalter, and you're going another direction.
Well, they've already offered the job to Zinedine Zidane. He just turned him down flat.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. You can offer it to freaking Pele and Maradona, people who aren't going to be able to accept because they're past. You can offer it to you can offer this to Ronaldo. You can offer it to anybody and everybody you want. But if they're not going to take it, doesn't matter, Grump.
Well, see, that's the thing. I don't know what they're looking for. Berhalter wants to keep that job.
Exactly. And here's the thing. Zinedine Zidane is like 15 tiers higher than Berhalter. It'd be like saying, hey, we're offering Carlo Ancelotti the job. Hey, we're offering Thomas Tuchel because he's unemployed. We're offering him. Come here, Thomas Tuchel. Come coach the U.S. men's national team. Why the hell would they take that job? So it's just like those are like empty offers is the way
I mean, Jurgen Klinsmann was a big name from Germany who had that job for a decade.
Yeah.
But eventually he gave up too because he's like, we just don't have the talent here. And it's a shame because with the amount of people live in this country, we should be the best team in the world. But just don't play it. The best athletes don't play soccer in this country.
I'll tell you,
I just find it interesting that he was let go.
I think that means that no matter what, they're not offering Berhalter the job back.
I agree.
I think that the way they looked at it is they say, you should have known Berhalter did this. And you should have been aware of it because it looked like at the last minute they looked incompetent. I think it's because of the way the program was perceived. He was fired because now we've got to launch an investigation. Well, hold on. You didn't know that happened already? You didn't run a background check to see that he was arrested for assault, whatever he was, or he was originally brought up. Those allegations were brought up against him. He was arrested that night. You never looked into that. It makes the director and the director and the United States men's national team, it makes them look bad. So he had to go. He's gone. And I assume they just probably want to sever connections with Berhalter. So you think about that. Claudia Reyna, and his wife.
Here's the thing. If it's me, I don't want that kid on my team ever. I'm just like, nope, sorry. I'm not dealing with it. I don't care how good you are. I don't want you on this team. We don't want the headaches here.
Danielle Egan. Yeah, I was about to say and you think about it too. The shittiest situation is Gio Reyna's in the shittiest spot. The kid who just wants to play football. He acted like a damn child, like a petulant child when he didn't get his playing time. But here's the thing. All he wants to do is play. And what does that lead to? Well, your mother went ahead and tried to go above people's head and go ahead and try to get that. And now you look like you're a problem child. And you very well may be a problem child.
Yep.
But
I'm just like, nope. Sorry, Gio. You're not going to be on this team. I don't care. Because you know what? I don't want to have to deal with your parents. It's just that plain and simple. Tell your mom, whatever she says, I don't care. You're not playing.
You know what, Gio? You can make it back on this team once you become a starter for your club team. You're coming off on sub time. Prove it to me. Prove it to all of us that you are. It's impossible for us not to keep you on the team, right? You're a guy who sits there and plays mop-up duty. You're a guy who sits there and comes on as a sub. Yeah, we want guys with more real game experience. Sorry, come back when you got more real game experience. Frank C. Grumpy.
I really hate the replay in all sports. I wish they'd leave the game in the hands of the officials. Never going to happen, though. Just too much money involved. I mean, the whole thing is, I'm going to tell you, real simple thing. If you look at it and 30 seconds is all you got, 30 seconds. If you can't make a determination in 30 seconds, move on, stays on the field. That's just the way it goes. And that's in anything. Anytime that you have to break something down to a millimeter, oh, look, it banged off the tip of his pinky. No, sorry, no.
Drew L. Grumpy.
Fire TJ, hire Andrew Gross.
Ooh. That's a new one. And hire my little brownie. Fire TJ, says Frank. They like that one. Good. F the Cowboys. These Cowboy fans' tears will taste amazing. Oh, let me rephrase. Fire TJ, hire Butch Goring. Now that is something special. Oh, man. Here you go, Grumpy. James F.
That last play call got to be the worst. TJ, you got to put up on the screen. Look at the formation. What was Dallas thinking of?
I'm sure it's going to be tough for me to find that, James. If you find that, link it to me. But it's going to be tough to find the last play call of Dallas. Violet Brownie Grumpy.
My beloved Spurs have steadily declined since Duncan retired. Pop's great, one of the best, but is it retirement time? Here's the thing. He's not great. Once again, players win games.
I think he was a really great coach. Would you disagree with that?
Here's the thing. He was a good coach who had really great selfless players on it.
Yes, sure. I agree with that. Sure.
I look at college basketball is a sport where a coach can make a difference. You look at Duke, right? Duke University.
Yeah.
Mike Krzyzewski, even in a down year, they were always really good. First year with him gone, they still have tremendous talent. New coach, just not the same team. Just not the same team.
Here's the thing I will say about that too. You think about the guys Pop helped develop. Kawhi Leonard, when drafted, was not nowhere close to a finished product. And again, like, you know, it's kind of like when the team sometimes helps a player along, but think about how many fantastic Hall of Fame caliber players Kawhi played under, learned under. But Kawhi Leonard, right? Nobody was expecting him to be what he was and turned out to be. I mean, look at Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Tim Duncan. I mean, even Danny Green for a bit was a guy.
David Robinson to start the run.
Yeah, you think about that. Pop had a great successful team for many years. But just like that, just like everybody's fun in the Sun ends. How old is Popovich now?
I don't know. Got to be, I don't know, old.
73.
Well, how old?
73.
Get out.
Phil Jackson, 77, if that's anything consolation.
Phil Jackson hasn't been coaching in years.
That's my point. Think about how great Phil Jackson was. Phil Jackson.
I remember when Greg Popovich took over, and I think it was the year that they won the championship. Mid-year, he was the GM, and he took over for the coach, and they won the championship. He fired his own coach and put himself a Lou Lamoriello-like into position as the coach, and they won a championship, and he's been there ever since.
I will say, Pop 5 NBA championships, 1999, 2003, 05, 07, and 14. I'll tell you this here too, 73 years old, time to kind of transition.
Hang it up.
He's been there since 1996.
Yeah.
It's time. It's time. Hate to be that guy, but it's time. I'm sorry, my little brownie. Time to head in a different direction. But hey, you can look back on those memories and dominant Spurs teams with fond and fun memories.
They were clutch.
Absolutely. Decut says TJ has anger issues.
It's true, he does. Very angry.
That's true. Very angry man. And Drew L. Grumpy.
According to TJ's logic, only like 3 quarterbacks are the answer. Sometimes you have to work with what you have, even if they're not a franchise guy. Eli Manning.
Don't get me started on Eli. The only reason Eli won any Super Bowls is because the defense was fantastic, and they had a really good running game. You think about the running game that they had under the Eli Manning.
It was the defense, the defensive front. Both times they won the Super Bowl under Eli, their defensive four was so good. They were able to consistently get to the quarterback using 4 guys.
Yeah. You think about it too. I mean, like, you look at the running game they used to have back then. Brandon Jacobs is a pretty solid back. Remember Ahmad Bradshaw?
Yeah.
I tell you, they had some pretty good players. The defense was fantastic though too.
Okay.
Michael Strahan for the first one. Ozzie Umenyiora was good. Matthias Kiwanuka, Antonio Pierce before he became finished. Yeah,
when
the team was good.
When they beat the Patriots in 2011, the Patriots were really banged up. Gronk was out. They were starting who the heck were they? Troy Brown was playing defensive back, or Julian Edelman was playing defensive back. They were really, really banged up.
That second run, look at it. Justin Tuck, JPP, Jason Pierre-Paul before blowing his fingers off. Chris Canty, Kiwanuka was still there. Kenny Phillips was pretty good. Antrell Roll. They had a really good and stout defense.
And who was the defensive tackle from Penn State who had the big sack on Brady? Alfred?
Linval Joseph?
No. Alfred? Alfred, what the heck's his name?
I couldn't tell you.
In 2011.
I don't know.
Okay, I forgot.
Anyway. Yeah, I'll tell you, the guy was just
Alfred, something like that.
I don't know. He just had horseshoes jammed up his ass. I mean, they even had Ozzie Umenyiora still at that time period as well. But, you know, very, very, very well-constructed defense. Alexander says, what's up, guys? The Bills are straight dog shit. We beat them with Tua. Oh, gosh. Paulo C says, guys, can you believe that tonight's win against the Flyers, the Jets are tied for first with the Stars?
Yeah.
TJ needs to drink water. whenever he talks quarterbacks. I'm not sure what that means. He gets too angry. Some red wine would help. Wine is like sleeping pills in the form of liquid to me. Laughing my ass off. I get knocked out by that. And TJ Diggs is an elite receiver. You know what? How often do you see Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase do that to their QBs? And think about it, right? Kirk Cousins is a lot shittier of a quarterback than Josh Allen. How often do you see Justin Jefferson getting Kirk Cousins' face like that?
Justin Jefferson's number one wide receiver in the league.
That's my point.
In my opinion.
He absolutely is.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving along there. Who's more poorly run, the Canucks or the Islanders? Canucks by a lot. And that's what I said. We're I think right now we look like we're in shambles, but there's a lot of teams that are worse off than us by a long bit.
Yep.
Grump.
Diggs with a millennial meltdown. TJ, now you know what you look like when you go on one of your rants.
Okay, D-Cut.
That's a good one, D-Cut. So true.
Urel said, I petition for the Dolphins to be renamed to the Sun Whales.
The Sun Whales.
I like that. Frank C. Grumpy.
We all know what happens to diva wide receivers. They end up eventually out of the league and forever forgotten.
Yep, that is true. And I believe Bull Duke was called up.
I'm interested to see him play.
I am too, Grumpy. And moving along here, D-Cut says, see, this is where the fault lies in TJ's argument. He's comparing journeyman Richie James to Antonio Brown. No. I'm saying you don't have to be an early selection to be a good wide receiver. You can be drafted later on in the draft. It doesn't invalidate how successful you are as a wideout. That's all. You could be a guy who's drafted late in the draft and still be successful. Doesn't matter where you were drafted. It matters what you perform like on the field. Yeah, Brown went to Central Michigan. He was, Drew, Isles girl was saying that she scared me. She said that Dobson or Mayfield is possibly hurt. Please be Mayfield. I hate to say that. Oh, God, I hope not. Mayfield needs to be traded this year, so I hope he's not banged up.
Oh, boy. That's bad news. We lose Dobson.
Goon Grumpy.
Who's more feeble, Dak or Zach? I just think Dak's terrible. This is a big game, and
Zach Wilson's a worse quarterback than Dak Prescott. Come on.
Yeah, all right, but you know what? I watched. What I watched today in this game. How old is Dak Prescott? It's not like he's 21,
28 years old.
You are what you are at this point. He's never going to win a Super Bowl. Never. You watch this. If you watch this game today and you watch how he was throwing the ball, he was scared. You're never winning anything. He beat the Succaneers because they just blow.
And Paulo C says, guys, some good news. The Penguins just got 1 point at overtime loss there to the Devils. I saw that. I did.
They're up by 3 over the Islanders with 2 games in hand.
Alexander says Jalen Hurts is going to get exposed. Oh, I like it.
I don't know. It hasn't happened yet.
Oh, man. Let's see here. Drew, TJ has a couple things in his software.
Couple of bugs in his software.
Couple bugs in my software. Drew L. Grumpy.
I swear TJ makes it too easy sometimes to argue his faults and his points. You're right, Grump. Never admits when he's wrong. He doesn't. Never, ever, freaking ever does he admit when he's wrong. Ever.
As usual, TJ favoring Facebook comments and ignoring the comments from us watching on YouTube. Gungun says, how do you think Don Corleone would have done as the Islanders general manager, Grumpy?
Well, he's like Don Corleone now, Lou is, just before he was wandering around in that tomato patch.
Just before he died.
Brady is from the feces on the streets of San Francisco, I believe. He is. That's where he's from.
Alexander Grump.
No, Brady is not going to Miami. I would take oh my God. I'd take 2 over Brady at this stage of his career. No. Brady showed his age this season. No. 5 to 10 years ago, I would say otherwise, but no, Brady is not the better right now. He's so vastly superior. Here's the thing, Alexander. You don't realize how bad Tampa was this year. They were terrible. If Miami had Brady this year, they absolutely make the playoffs. And matter of fact, I'm going to tell you what, they're in the championship game.
Oh,
they would have beaten Buffalo. They absolutely would have beaten Buffalo. First of all, they might even have won division.
Damn.
That's what would have happened.
Because, hey, they do have a choker on the other side, Josh Allen.
That's
My
right.
little brownie says Djokovic was hurting in his last match and still won in straight sets. I don't see anybody stopping him for number 22.
Yeah, he's great. All-time great. You know,
Here's the thing. Okay, he'll never be as good as Federer for me.
what I was just
I don't care if he breaks the record. He'll never be as good.
He's already broken the record.
Okay. Well, for majors.
Yes.
Okay.
He's got 21. Federer had 20, and I think Nadal has 20 also, or 20. Here's the thing, though. Those three guys, the greatest tennis players of all time. Rafael Nadal, the greatest clay court player that ever lived.
And you look at it, too. Think about in their primes. It was Federer and Nadal all throughout their primes. Djokovic was a lot younger, or was younger, so he got to face up against Federer and Nadal when they were kind of on the way out. And he's been the most dominant player in tennis, not even close. I mean, like you think about Andy Murray was still pretty. They had a lot of really good players too.
Andy Murray actually played in the Australian Open this year. He just got knocked out in the third round.
He played in the Australian Open.
He's been gone for a long time.
I thought so.
But now, you know what his thing? I'm ready for some fresh blood. I'll be honest with you.
Well, that's my thing. Djokovic's
getting a lot of hate, and I don't like it because he's a non-vax guy. So what? I mean, you know, you're allowed to make choices about your own body.
About your medical health. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, I don't think you should vilify somebody because he didn't want to get a shot. It's just stupid.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, though. I'm just talking about that. I don't care how many more majors he wins. He'll still never be as good as Federer. Sorry.
In the primes, Federer was the best.
Yeah, well, think about it, too. Federer every single time was facing against a prime Rafael Nadal. And when they were in their 30s, you've got Djokovic coming up on the come and entering his prime as the guys are over their peak. It's easier for Djokovic to rack up those majors at that point.
When Federer was coming up, he was still playing guys like Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi. So those other guys never played them. They were a little after that.
Federer's what, 40-something years old these days, too?
Yeah, he's retired now.
How old's Djokovic?
35.
So 6 years younger. You know, 6 years in tennis years is a long time.
Yeah.
With the wear and tear that goes on those bodies.
Yep.
Drew says Rogers doesn't have weapons. Robert Tonyan, Christian Watson aren't weapons.
Okay, Robert Tanyan's not that great. Christian Watson is a rookie.
Yep. And
he had flashes. And he's another guy. He's a perimeter guy, just run down the field. That's what he is.
Gungun says, TJ and Grumpy, do either one of you, or have you ever been bold enough to don a Speedo? If so, did it make you swim faster?
I absolutely wore a Speedo in my younger days.
I don't swim.
I'm not a great swimmer either. Matter of fact, as soon as the water's over my head, I feel like a rock. It does not make you swim faster, but you get a lot of stairs.
You swim faster in a downwards motion. That's all.
Very true. Very true.
Oh, no, man. They said 200% Lamar Jackson would be on the Ravens.
Very true.
Yeah, that works. Somebody just tweeted, Dak has earned the right to be called an African-American Kirk Cousins now. That's just fucked. I think that let me ask you this. Dak Prescott better than Kirk Cousins?
No.
Really?
Absolutely not. Nope. No.
Tua will never be the same. He had 3 concussions in 3 months. He'll sadly be prone to them, says Frank.
He was always injured before. He's always got an ass ache, this guy.
Gungun Grump.
What would the people's champion have to do to win back Giselle? He doesn't need her.
I think Giselle's already having sex with other boys, other men.
Let me tell you something. He can get a younger, better model than her. Anytime.
Drew L. Grumpy.
And then, if possible, when I do have that come to Jesus moment, I'll make sure to dump on all the opinions and receipts that you have wrong, and then see your face when I expose you, TJ. I think it's talking about the come to Jesus meeting about Daniel Dimes.
And Drew says, shout out to Empire and shout out to Frank and Gungun for being part of the Danny Defenders. Matt and Mike LaFleur were also a part of that 80 or 28-3 Falcon staff. Oh yeah, yikes! Makes too much sense. The staff has birthed chokers. Oh man, I'll tell you.
They would, but anybody but the people's champion.
Mangini was Butterball, says Frank.
Oh, okay.
Oh no. Oh God. Joseph C says he's calling Dayball Butterball. Okay, yeah, Dayball is Butterball.
He does look like a butterball.
He looks like Butterball the fighter, Butterbean. Maybe Butterbean the fighter.
Okay.
Goon Goon Grump.
TJ, I can't make sense. You're taking rock and roll. I can sense you're taking rock and roll more seriously nowadays. To prove this claim, my gosh, sing us all a bit of the riff to Nirvana's "Smells Like Teen Spirit."
I don't know that song that well. Oh man. Oh yeah, I know that song.
Yeah.
Joseph C said Rex Ryan might have never been hired by the Jets had the Jets made the playoffs in 2008 with Favre at QB. They did start the season 8-3. You think about how that went.
8-3.
8-3. I'm sorry. Okay. Exactly, Drew. TJ acts like they're a great quarterback tree, but you just go and pick one. I don't know. And Mangini got Belichick busted. So worth it to hire him. God. I don't know about that. And Drew says here, what's crazy is Jones is literally Kenny Pickett with more legs.
Oh!
Here's the thing. You think I slob on his
You
knob?
do slob on Kenny Pickett. You do.
He's got the it factor. That's it. I think he has the ability to be a top half of the league quarterback. That's slobbing on somebody's knob. Hey, guys, I think Kenny Pickett has a chance to be top of the league. So
It's funny.
16 or above.
It's funny. Daniel Jones and Kenny Pickett are very similar.
No, you're fucking nuts.
Very similar.
No, Grumpy, you're nuts. Kenny Pickett's a much better quarterback than Daniel Jones will be. Absolutely, he'll be a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. No doubt in my mind. Daniel Jones or Zach Wilson to the Raiders. No, neither.
No.
You should want neither. Zach
They're all in
Wilson
on
is
Brady.
second for Derek Carr. Says Rob. When is Antonio Brown coming back? Bonus question. Antonio or Santonio? Or San Antonio, Grumpy?
Antonio Brown's never coming back.
Unfortunately, no. He's just, yeah. Anyway. Antonio or San Antonio, Grump?
Neither one of them.
So, in a nutshell, Daniel Jones at 6'5", 230. Kenny Pickett with more speed. Damn. Hey, what were the 40 times that they had? I don't even think Daniel
And
Jones.
he's got way bigger hands, too.
Okay. Daniel Jones is not a good of a quarterback. Daniel Jones is bottom half of the NFL.
I'll tell you what.
Kenny Pickett doesn't turn over the ball.
That's a good comparison, though.
You know, the moment I start listening to you on quarterbacks, I would go ahead and say, hey, we're trading for Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield and Dak Prescott. As soon as I start listening to the Grumpy, your team gets run into the fucking ground. Your team gets run into oblivion, Grump.
All I'm saying is they have very similar playing styles. They do. They're very, very similar. Both played in that weak ACC.
Go ahead, continue.
They got.
Is that what it is? That's a comparison. They both played in the ACC in college.
Daniel Jones's arm is better than Kenny Pickett's.
Oh, fucking stop!
I think. Okay, Kenny Pickett was a turnover machine this year.
How many turnovers?
Just like our friend Danny Dimes.
How many turnovers did Kenny Pickett have this year?
I remember he had 3 interceptions the first game he played.
Okay. How many turnovers did he have this year?
You know? So he's not even as good as Daniel Jones.
How many turnovers?
The best thing Kenny Pickett did was be injured. This way he wasn't on the field embarrassing himself any more than he's had to.
How many picks did he have?
I don't know. Why don't you look it up?
In his first 5 games, he threw 8 picks.
Oh, shit, that ain't good. Extrapolate overseas. What do you got? 40 interceptions? What was he, Jamar?
His next 8 games, he threw 1.
So he's Jameis Winston.
No, he was a guy who was a rookie quarterback getting acclimated to the NFL.
So he throws an interception a game. Okay, that's good.
9 picks, 9 games. Yeah.
How many Dak Prescott throw? You were all over Dak Prescott. This guy's the same thing.
He led the NFL in interceptions.
It's only because Kenny Pickett didn't play a whole season.
Ah, is that what it is? Well, no, Kenny Pickett, after the little woes of the first start, got into it. Fuck San Antonio.
I think it's a good comparison.
Yeah. TJ, I sent you the newest center of the Cowboys, Ezekiel Elliott. Oh, God. I'll let you read that, Grumpy.
Who is more dangerous when they lose their cool? TJ or OJ? I'm going to say OJ because TJ hasn't killed anyone yet. Where, well, OJ multiple murders.
God, here you go, Grumpy. Alexander wants me to show this to you. Oh, God. Says, when people say Brady is better than Tua right now, God, I tell you. Here's the thing. What, you have any response to that, Grump?
I mean, who's Tua in this picture right here? Is that
No,
Chris
no,
Rock?
no.
Chris Rock Tua?
When people say Brady is better than Tua right now and somebody slaps him, like, slap some sense into him, Grumpy.
Well, you know what it means?
It usually works better when I don't have to explain the meme.
Chris Rock didn't even go down. So, how much of a hit could that be? Just like Brady, he never goes down. 23 years, 1 injury. Tua, 1 week, 3 injuries.
Frank there, Grump.
What happened to Elliott? He doesn't even look in the same body he used to be. It's a running back position. It's just the way he is. Is that really him? Does he have a life-threatening disease? I didn't think he was that old. He's done. Running backs don't last forever. That's why mostly you do not sign them to second deals. They're disposable.
Like Adrian Peterson or somebody who's spectacular. You do not sign them to a second contract.
How many guys are there like that?
Not many. You go, Grumpy. Frank.
What are the Islanders going to do in general? Will owners not allow Lou, aka Old Folks Home, to go on a trading spree amid and give all of our picks away to try and look like a big man? Owners better not allow it. Here's the thing. Lamoriello has to know at this stage that the team's just not good enough. And I don't care what he thinks. His legacy is intact as a general manager, but Islander fans will look at him differently if he trades away any futures on this team, without a doubt.
Drew says here, I heard the rumor Brady has bought a house on Long Island and that the Islanders are trying to sign him to a contract.
He's right.
Get ready.
He's right in that age range of guys they like to pick up.
Lots of dropped interceptions by the defense. Brock Purdy is going to be the next Brady. Then, if he has this type of luck.
I'm telling you.
Look at this. He's all over the place.
Dallas dropped a shitload of pass interceptions today. They're going to lose to the Eagles. Here's the thing. I don't care what San Francisco says. If they look at the game film, hey, Tom, come on over. Got the house for you right here. Stay with mom and dad for a while. Stay away from that harpy. We'll fly the kids in. Don't worry about it. We need you to win a Super Bowl title.
Drew also said Popovich's game just passed him by. He's also like damn near 70.
73.
I tell you, yikes. He's just getting up there. Fire TJ, hire Chris King.
Oh, wow. He's the radio guy for the Islanders.
TJ skipped the terrific comments by Drew, Frank, Rob, D-Cut to read more comments from his little buddies. Sad. There it is. Justin Jefferson absolutely yelled at Kirk Cousins before I sent you the clip. Okay, let's take a look at this here. Let's see what yelling at Kirk Cousins looks like. They're down by 13 points. Second quarter. Let's watch.
Cousins on the move, throws high for Jefferson and incomplete.
Okay, that's different than saying "fuck Kirk Holt, throw the ball," then yelling at his face, going, "Hey, where are you? Where are you?" He just yelling in the end zone. He was upset. A little different.
I'll say one thing: wide receivers should never yell at quarterbacks.
Yeah, they do those sometimes. Here's the thing: you don't do it in front of their face. You don't do it where you undermine the individual too, right? Just can't do that. Alexander says, "D-Cut, he barely read my comments. What are you talking about? Professionals wear sleeves, TJ. Yeah, I've heard. Pro Bowl should be banned. The NFL just named Pete Davidson and Snoop Dogg as captains.
Are you kidding me?
Yikes.
Oh, don't worry. I won't be watching that.
Yeah,
Not that I have anyway. Shit.
I can't tell the last time I did that. Drew says here, so TJ, here you have the best 6th round wide receiver selected. 6 rounds, Antonio Brown. So Hall of Fame caliber guy. Mel Gray. Sorry. Terrence Mathis. So my point stands. Most 6th rounders suck. I'll have to pull up the
Mel Gray was really good for the Cardinals. Really good.
We did show your fan fight, Alexander. Yes, we did earlier. Absolutely. Just came on later. No worries, Alexander. And Drew says here, they're so-called draft steals for a reason.
Yes.
Yeah, they are. But hey, when you're able to identify a guy like that, not all guys picked in the 6th round suck ass. Drew L. Grumpy.
Same thing about Amon-Ra St. Brown. He was a gem in the draft that Detroit found. Wide receivers aren't running backs, TJ, where they're just easily replaceable. Well, here's the thing.
Disagree.
They don't take the punishment so they can play longer.
I disagree. You could find a serviceable wide receiver in the draft on a consistent basis. Did you guys ever see what's going on with Provorov and Philly? Yeah, we kind of talked about that on Thursday. Concussions were never a problem with Tua. It was the physical injuries.
So now he's got that problem too.
So he's got concussion and physical injury problems. He's just a guy who's injury prone. Alexander, you should want to get rid of a guy who's injury prone. You don't want a guy who's injury prone as your starting QB.
If you get anything of value for him, you move him.
It's an unpopular opinion, but I'll say I think that Smells Like Teen Spirit's one of the most overrated rock songs of all time.
I agree. I agree with that.
Grumpy, thank you for comparing Daniel Jones to Kenny Pickett. And yes, TJ, you slob on Kenny Pickett's knob. You're just mad that I got you flustered in making a good point. I'm not sure. There are currently 5 young star-studded quarterbacks, 2 aging legendary quarterbacks, and 25 ham and eggers in the NFL right now.
I'm going to say there's more than just I'm going to say there's the other guys, he's talking about Brady, Rodgers, and then the 5 we mentioned earlier. I think there are other guys who are still good quarterbacks in there that aren't ham and eggers.
I'm going to just gritty on TJ's grave like Justin Jefferson. I got him.
Oh,
time will tell. Kenny Pickett will be a top half of the quarterback in the NFL.
Please stop. Let it go.
Milo
Brownie says, Drew, I better not hear a single word about football starting day after the Super Bowl. Otherwise, I'll hold you responsible.
Oh, God. And Frank C. Grumpy.
Now that Clutterbuck is out indefinitely, I heard Lou will sign him to a 4-year extension.
Clutterbum. Okay, hold on. And we showed this one yesterday, Alexander, but we'll pop it up one more time here. It's a meme there of Drake. It says Lamarillo getting TJ Meyer. It says no, thank you. Lou Lamarillo trading away first-round picks for Adam Henry. Grumpy.
We did not show that yesterday.
Oh, my mistake then. Gotcha. But Grump, man, we're here at the end of the show when we talked a lot of football today, a little bit of other sports sprinkled in. But hey, football's almost done. Football season's almost done, Grumpy. What do you want to say before we wrap things up?
I want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens, and even those who don't, from TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
Thank
Please
you.
Give us a thumbs up. Please give us a like. Please tell your friends.
There it is.
Please tell your enemies.
Please tell your family. No, I'm just kidding. Everybody, thanks so much for tuning in and watching. We'll be with you guys here this Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thank you, Grumpy, as always, for being a part of the show.
My pleasure.